Hi, friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average Canadian wolfpack come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A safe space where being yourself is the ultimate goal. Each week, we will bring you new episodes sharing our opinions on a ton of different topics in hopes we can get a better understanding of ourselves, each other, and this crazy world we live in. We want to build a community where we can show up as ourselves, be real, and lay it all out there. By sharing our opinions and experiences, we hope to reach others who can relate so we can all help each other learn, grow, and heal. But please keep in mind, as a disclaimer, none of us here are professionals. No one is giving any advice. We are strictly speaking of our life experiences, our opinions, and for entertainment purposes only. Now, with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. We hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy, and I'm the host of the show. And today, you guys, we are on episode 144, Women. Quite honest with you guys, I'm actually not going to say much. I just already did an intro and I got interrupted by a phone call, which has never really happened to me before, so that's new. Thanks, babe. I had a big thing where I was trying to defend myself and my thoughts, and I think I'm just going to leave it. This episode was a real mixed bag, and I figured out why coming to the end is that I think with men is that I don't feel like they've been hurt as much, and I think coming at them with this like tough love isn't the right way. But with women, because we are women and we do this to ourselves and we do it to each other, I feel like we came at it just a little bit hot and heavy. And I definitely know I'm going to piss a lot of people off with this episode. And I'm truly sorry. I did not mean to do that. I hope that you know that it's coming from a place of love. And I just want everyone to not feel like they're less than. And I feel like so many people feel like they're less than, especially women in certain industries. And I just want you to know that you're magical fucking creatures and you do not need any extra to be amazing. And if you want that and you need that, even though in this episode it's going to seem like I'm going to try and push you away from that, because I am trying to turn into a minimalist. So the less that I put in my body and less that I do, the better. And maybe I want to bring all you bitches down with me so we be all ugly, unmakeuped people together. Okay? I'm just kidding. I want you to do what generally makes you feel good for you. But my personal experience, all those industries, all those stories I told myself that had my worth in did absolutely fucking nothing for me. And I wasted a shit ton of time in my life. Like right now, all I can look at is my burnt nose. That's all I can look at. My giant burnt nose. If you're watching on a video, if you're not, I had the typical sunglass burn look. It literally happened today because it was not there yesterday. And all I thought is, dang, you should probably put some makeup up to cover that. No, I was in the sun today. I don't believe in sunscreen. My nose got sunburnt. It'll peel. We'll move on. You guys still love me, So I think the biggest thing for me is going through these last couple of years, especially the last 5 years of this really transformative self-reflection and awareness. I just realized I don't need those extra things. And in fact, those things actually made me more insecure and pulled me away from myself. And that did a disservice to me. So now I feel like I need to share that information. So I just want to preface this that if you think I'm hating on women this episode, I don't mean that. I'm just trying to find ways to reach you. And women have been loved and coddled a lot. So guess what? Auntie B's coming in with some fucking harsh reality. I'm just kidding, guys. It wasn't that bad. I don't know. I black out when I go through podcasts. But anyways, we are on episode 144, second to last, talking about women. This was a huge mixed bag. It's not going to be very similar to the men ones, even though that was our intentions, but we're being real and we just went with what we felt like. But before we get on to our second to last episode, if you are watching on Rumble or YouTube, oh my God, y'all, I do need a break. If you're watching on the video platforms, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on those notification bells so you know when your babes post. And if you're feeling sassy, leave a comment. We love them. We love to talk to you guys, even if in any capacity. So please message us. We are also on social media. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. And if you are listening on Spotify, which has both Apple, Google Podcasts, any of those guys, you can also turn on the notifications so that your babes drop another episode. And I drop these episodes at 4 a.m, so that notification comes in at like 7, 8 in the morning. So it's like as soon as you're starting your day on your Fridays, bam, the babes are in. As mentioned, guys, we have one more episode after this, episode 145, our finale that is coming to you in the following week. TBD on date. We'll see when we're going to drop that. I might drop it early. I might wait till Friday. Let's just see. But we are taking 1 month break before we come back for season 6. We have very neat things coming for season 6. Less episodes, more stuff for Canada. Yeah. More stuff for Canada. More men things. Maybe some more men on the show. We're getting more. How exciting. But yeah, guys, so like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. If you want to be on season 6, we got lots of time to plan, so make sure you're jumping in because y'all, that shit is booking up fast. We will not have as much room in season 6 for as many guests as we had in season 5. So we definitely want to make sure that if you want to be on the show, get a hold of us ahead of time to see if we can squeeze you in and make sure that it works with what we're talking about. But as always, guys, we're always here to listen, always here to chat. I cannot thank you guys. I suffer from imposter syndrome all the time. Every time I do this, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But y'all keep listening. So I cannot tell you how much that means. The fact that even 5 of you listen a week, let alone, a month, I think we're averaging for 300 to 400. That's insane. I don't know how to mentally process that, so I'm not going to. But with massive amount of gratitude for you guys, for the babes, for everybody that puts the show together, all of that just from the bottom of my hearts. I know my girls are listening when they're doing the editing of the show. So if you're listening, my babes, Kayla, Haley, Danielle, just my heart, you angels. I love you so much. Those women in my life. This is, in the next season, we want to bring up ways to empower you. I think we not pushed a lot of fear. We shared a lot of fear and a lot of dark things. So next season, we want to balance that out with empowering y'all, teaching you all, especially this episode. Please take it for what it is. It's because I think you guys are all amazing. I think so many women are uniquely amazing that I just want us to stay away from trying to all be the same cookie cutter, quote unquote Barbie figure that social media has made us believe, and filters and all that. You can be uniquely weird yourself. This is why I show up with this is last night's makeup, and with my hair like this. And yeah, so anyways, guys, I love you, men and women, human beings. I love you all. We could all do better. We all could have better done to us. We just need to come together and understand that everyone has different circumstances, experiences, situations, and opinions, and that's not always going to jive. But what we can do foundationally is just have mad respect for each other and just like start this new path, start repatterning stories. And I'm not just talking about stories that you say about yourself, the ones that you say inside about other people, because that's also a reflection of how you feel about yourself, right? So if you're looking at a woman and you tear her down in your head, I'm going to challenge you to give her 3 compliments. That's what I've been doing. Every time I say something negative about another human being, I have to say 3 positive things about them so I can start repatterning myself, because, we aren't our thoughts. They're just there. So we can repattern those to be better, so that we're not acting, in a subconscious way, right? Like, you want to be present, you want to be conscious, right? But we have these subconsciouses that are going to keep doing shit. And if we don't work to correct those inner dialogues about ourselves and others, we're going to continue to do a disservice to ourselves and to others. So anyways, I shut the fuck up because this episode was so goddamn long. I don't know the last time me and Hales had a long one like this, but it was good, y'all. So again, mixed bag, take it for what it is. Final episode like this for this season. We're going to have all the babes back on, hopefully, for our season finale. Take 1 month off. We will be posting in at the beginning of September. So again, like, subscribe, do all those fucking things. Thank you guys for the bottom of my hearts. You're all fucking amazing. I don't know. I at least got 10 seasons in me. So you guys are not going to see The Last of Us. But let's get on to this fire episode. And so I can just shut the fuck up and, quit rattling. All right, babes, time to get on to the show for one of the final ones of season 5.
I can't
with my big babes. Hales. My babes, Hales? That's a good one. That's a good start, B. Me and me babes, Hales.
It's all good. What's up, man?
We're gonna carry on. I'm obviously have sunstroke, and for those that can't see, I'm fucking absolutely bright red. For those that are looking, like, what? I didn't even know this happened. We were in the sun for maybe 4 hours over the weekend. So, and please don't tell me to wear sunscreen. That's all I'm gonna say. Please don't, because
better off without it.
Everyone else that was out there was burnt too. Better off without it. You get burned with sunscreen, you get burned without. But yes, Alberta, what the fuck? Smoky as shit. Could go
We've
see
been on
Theo Vaughn.
fire,
Like,
apparently. Yeah, that was, I can't even explain to you.
I'm so
They announced
sorry.
that an hour on their Instagram, an hour before his show, that they canceled it because of the
That's
smoke, even though it was smoky all day. But then they only were going to give refunds until 6:30 the next night because all the tickets were transferred to the Saturday night show, even though people that came from out of town, like my friends, and people that didn't have other accommodations like us, we didn't have a babysitter for Saturday. Like, we got fucked. So I had to email, I got a refund, but you don't get any of the
good.
fees, so I lost like $50, but it is what it is. But
That's
yeah,
such
they
bullshit.
ended up
Yeah, it
going
is what it
on the
is.
Saturday, which was, if not worse, the exact same as the Friday conditions. Like, the smoke was just as bad.
That's fucked.
And Theo
And I
Vaughn said
just,
right on his story that it came from the government, and he tagged Trudeau.
yeah.
So
I feel like at the end of the day, haven't we learned that personal choice is
yeah,
a thing?
he was
So
ready
if
to
Theo
go.
wanted to perform and everyone else was fine with it, then those that didn't want to go, then maybe you didn't show up and you got a
Yeah,
refund. Maybe that
exactly.
makes more sense because talking about women, here is one thing we might as well just roll right into. And I'm not going to say that men aren't like this. Again, men, we gave you space in the last one and we said women back off. So now let's flip the script here. I feel like that is one way that women definitely get more disadvantage of is mom usually is the one that doesn't get to do all the fun things and dads get to go out a little bit more. I know there's
Okay,
different
that
situations,
the
but
fact that you
on
just said
this
that is
level,
like wild. I have had that shoved in my face this week in an extraordinary way. So I won't mention a name, but one of my friends recently was venting to me about how like tapped out she is as a mom, but is being completely guilted and not like pretty much allowed to take breaks or like not given the opportunity to take breaks. Not a very supportive partner. It really, really outraged me because although we are extremely capable and can do whatever the hell we want to or need to take care of ourselves, having anyone, not just like a romantic partner, but just like having people in your life that are willing to like, and that can sense and tell when you aren't always good at asking, when you need help or need a
mhm.
break, is so fucking crucial because specifically moms, and I can speak now because I am one, it is such a job. Like, I saw that
Mhm.
mothers produce like, it's like, what was it? It was like 80% more. Like, we are topped out at cortisol, the stress hormone or whatever. Is it
Mhm.
cortisol? That's terrible of me
I've
to not know that. But your
yeah,
stress
maybe.
hormone,
That's
we
fine.
produce like hundreds of percent more a day than the average person, just having to like mentally
Mhm.
carry your schedule, your preferences, your
Mhm.
needs with your whole little human's needs, preferences, and schedule, and like your husband's and your
Mhm.
house, and things that the family need to do, things that you need to do, appointments. Like, it is just so much. And I realize everyone carries mental loads, but like the mental load of a mother,
Of
especially
course.
multiple families. I have a girlfriend who has 5 children. I don't even know
Oof.
where I would be. I don't even understand how I would exist. Like, the fact that she is
Fair
looks like the most rock star of a mom is like beyond me because the mental load of a child, let me tell you,
is a
can be a
lot.
lot, but like having that many,
Mhm.
so
It's a
yeah,
lot of
it
energy.
is insane how we are expected to just power through and
Mhm.
bite the bullet and accept all the extra, whether it be parenting or extra responsibility around the house. I don't know,
Agreed.
you know.
And I think what blows my mind, and lately I've been kind of just like, everyone is where they're at, like,
Yeah,
whatever. If that's what works for you and your family, whatever. But I really truly find it a little bit crazy how some, not all, what will happen is that, like, yes, they're working during the day. Moms are working during the day. And it's like, oh, I want to come home and relax, which I understand. But like, mom's also working all day too. And
yeah,
what pisses me off more than anything, and I'm not even a mom, but we've talked about it. I helped my mom quite a
yeah,
bit growing up with the kids and stuff like that. So I know, and in a outside degree of how much work that actually takes.
yeah.
And when people are like, oh, you just sit at home all day and watch the kids, but he's working all day. Now, I'm not going to lie, some of the jobs, like, I'm sure, like, people that are in war, and
Yeah.
firefighters and cops. Like, yeah, you guys have a very fucking high stress level
Yeah.
job. I
Very
imagine that those
physically
really
active and
risk ones,
demanding.
they're
Yep.
very physically active and demanding for sure. But that doesn't, and so maybe I'm a little bit more I'm not saying that their stress is bigger, but the cortisol levels are probably
Yeah,
pretty fucking high for people in high risk
for
positions.
sure.
So I can understand coming home and being stressed out. But the thing is, in my opinion, and I don't have a kid, so I'm talking out of my butt, but when dad gets home, to me that's split equal time. That it's not babysitting. That is my biggest pet peeve when men
No.
say they're babysitting their children. No, you are being a parent. You're
No.
not babysitting. You're not watching your children. You're just being a fucking
Ideally,
parent.
it should be a
Um,
50-50 split.
yes.
But
Or
unfortunately,
like
it is
whatever. Like you
surely
had, I'm not,
not in a lot of places and
no,
houses. It sucks.
no, and I know that sounds easy on paper. I
Yeah,
get that. But maybe it's like
it should be though.
50-50 of the responsibilities, whether that's like, okay, mom cooks dinner, so dad does dishes. And dad put or while or the other way, maybe dad makes dinner and mom's doing dishes, and while mom's doing dishes, dad's having baby in the bath, and then
Yeah,
mom's gonna put baby to bed.
yeah.
So that mom and dad have time for house chores
That or
and
just
personal time or whatever, you know,
work out
like
a schedule where it's a balance thing for sure. It has to be a
yes,
balance. It doesn't
absolutely.
necessarily have to be like tit for tat like that. Like, but yeah,
No.
one does
But you
dinner
know what
and
I mean.
dishes, the other one wrangles toddler in the tub and does
The
bath
child.
time, right? Like, whatever
Yeah,
works, but there has
exactly.
to be a split because a lot of
Yeah.
times, especially in the family dynamic, yeah, moms get a lot of stuff dumped on. Like, for me, I
And
don't always
and in the
ask
oil
for
field, I
time.
feel like a lot.
Yeah, I don't always ask for time. I'm not good at it because, like, one, mom guilt is a very real thing, and I don't like being without her. I hate to say that, and it sounds like
Mhm.
super like pathetic and needy, but like I one am a control
She's an
freak in that
angel.
sense. Two, no one is going to ever love or care for her like I will, and I know that for a fact, certain
Mm,
fact. And
of
there's just
course.
something weird about being without her right now. But when I do ask for it, I know damn well that I have the support and people there to
Of course.
come and do it.
To
And
do
there's
it.
something so like
Yeah.
incredibly like, I don't know, it's just a great
Relieving.
feeling. Yeah, and just it's a
Hmm.
weight off your shoulders. So like I can't imagine people that are just stuck, because it can feel like you're stuck.
Hmm.
It is literally the same day. And like you said, when people say, "Oh, you just stay home all day with the kids," you don't like.
Motherfucker, there's a lot that goes on
At
in that
this
home
point,
during
like
the day,
it's quite
y'all.
annoying, and I would probably just roll my eyes because like I just know how stupid that sounds, because
Hmm.
no one who's taking care of a kid back to back all day every day, and they know damn well that it is not just
Yeah.
sitting watching the kid. Like,
No.
I
No,
clean
I
my
agree. And
house
that's
8
where I think
times over. I run around my house. I have to blow up balloons and then get out the Play-Doh, and then doesn't want the Play-Doh, and then starts carrying the Play-Doh around the house, and then gets it in her hair and gets it all over my bed, and then drops little bits of it all over the floor, and then doesn't
for the
like flat
cats to
anymore,
eat.
and then goes into her room and tears that apart and plays with all the fruits and vegetables that she has in her kitchen. Like, the amount of cleaning and just like mental running around and shit, I gotta do this, and oh my god, I still have to do this. Like, it's
With the toddler.
it can be physically demanding, but it is a mental thing. So yeah, like you said, high stress
Yep.
jobs like physical, firefighters, like even lawyer, anyone who has just a
Hmm.
high stress, people who manage a lot of like employees, no matter
People.
what, like at a
Yep.
McDonald's, hell, at like a lumber yard, I
Oh my
don't know,
God, no
like
thanks. Tim
anywhere,
Hortons.
any high stress
Yep.
job, motherhood is right up there with the best of them, and I'm
Yes.
sorry to admit it. And even like single
100%.
fatherhood, and even
Not
single
admitting it.
fathers would understand it. Just parenting in
Parenthood.
general
Yeah.
is
Hmm.
like next level. It is next level.
Next level. Yeah. And that's where I feel like, where men get so like not forced out of the house, but have to go and work and have to be away from the
Yeah.
family and work really hard. And that's their like shitty part. This is the shitty part for women. And obviously that's not majority of us, but a
And it's
big
not to
chunk,
say
a
it's
very
shitty.
large
It just
chunk.
means that is the
Not
like
shitty,
it's the
but
dark with the light, right? Like it's the one
mhm,
downside to like, yeah, you get children and you got a family and you have a good connection and you build upon that,
mhm,
but yeah, it's not always fun and it's not always sunshine and roses to do, you
no,
know?
and the family dynamics changed as well. Like we talked about, the men is the one that have to provide, but
And be
now,
strong and be so
unfortunately, that's
tough.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not enough anymore. So moms now have to go in the work. I mean, they're not just now; they always have. But now it's like moms don't even just have to have one job. It's like everybody
And
has
it's
to have two jobs. So I feel like that's a woman thing too. I know men have it
It's
too and
not
men
that
hustle, but I feel like with women,
it's not that we have to either.
sorry,
It's
go
just
ahead.
that's what's expected of us. You're expected now. If you don't have a job and are parenting, like what are you doing? If you're not contributing
Mhm,
financially, you what are you doing? Like you have no say, you have no
mhm,
this, like this and that. Like there's so many regulations to it. And like I remember like having conversations like that with Nick now that I work from home. Like
mhm,
some days he does get resentful because I'm at home and I get to have moments with Evie, or I get to take a break and take her to the
mhm,
park when she's restless, or like things like that. And like
mhm.
he has to remind himself that having me at home though is helpful because the house is maintained, laundry and supper
Yes.
and food, and I can help do a lot of stuff. If we need something repaired, I'm
Mhm,
always home. Like I don't
mhm.
know, like there's a lot of
Oh,
benefits to it.
absolutely.
It's just hard
Yeah,
sometimes to see
absolutely.
because yeah, I can see how being a stay-at-home parent or just a parent in general and having to work and like getting to spend more time one with the other, like it is just it's all about balance, and it is a hard one to figure,
Mhm,
especially now that like you said we are expected to earn money and have a full-time
mhm,
job and raise your
mhm,
children on top of maintaining a figure and being appealing to your husband and maintaining that relationship, also your friendships and all your fucking family friendship. Like we just there's a lot on our plates, men and women, but women
mhm.
there is a lot on our fucking plates, and I don't feel like we
Yeah.
get enough credit for it at all.
No,
Like we were
but
saying,
I'm also going to call out that we're not very good at setting up boundaries and honoring
no,
ourselves and putting ourselves first. So
we
this is
put
where like
everyone
me and Kayla did an
first.
episode. Yeah, we did an episode about like how women were so like wronged. And I'm not saying we're not, and I'm not saying because we did a lot for men, but I feel like a lot of the times too though, like for when it comes to certain things, women do get a lot more space. Like mental health talk for women is,
Oh
like I
yeah,
was just
well
watching this
we're
the other day and I
emotional,
think I
right?
just shared it. Right. And we're emotional. So we can go sit with our ladies and we could talk it out where men don't get
No.
that opportunity so much. And back to the like, yes, there's some expectation on women going in the workforce and paying, but now it's like there's no fucking choice. Like I think a lot of men and dads would say that they would prefer their women and would love to be that male
Yeah,
provider to
yeah,
make
yeah,
that bank and make enough money so mommy can stay at
but they
home and take
can't.
care of the kids and take care of the house, but they can't.
We
And so
can't, and
that's where I feel like
especially
it's
this
such
economy, my god, not a
exactly. And
chance.
it's just like right. And so it's like these expectations too, like I was going back to is like I always find there's a balance between all of it, right? Because it's like yeah, we're expected to do those things, but from fucking who?
We don't.
Like who?
Well, that's what I was kind
Who?
of getting at.
Who's
Like
telling me
that's
that?
our
Yeah,
expectations. Like
like
that's
who?
what is put. That's what we're
Yeah.
supposed to do. But like, who says we
Mm,
have to? Who says
who?
that that is
Right?
like the mold you have to follow and the path you need to walk
Hmm.
down? Right? Like,
Yes.
that's kind of like my big transition from moving from my last job to this job was truly exact. Like it brought us closer to like what we wanted as a schedule and kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
family, and it was
Yeah.
so hard to like figure out because what we have now is not traditional. Like I don't necessarily work a
No,
9 to 5 and I work from home, which would have never happened before. Actually, maybe with this company
I
because
know.
it's a different like city,
Maybe.
but like working from home wasn't quite a possibility for a long time or wasn't as popular, and
Mm-mm.
the schedule and how flexible it is the same thing. Like it's just kind of it's a kind of unheard of in a way, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
it's
Special.
exactly, it got me thinking like why the hell are we so like glued and stuck to this 9 to 5 bullshit and this like having to work
Mm-hmm.
every day all day for the week and getting such short periods off for ourselves and to like do things that
Mm-hmm.
we care about and to take care of us and like our mental health and our interests and like nurture our creativity and like our enjoyment of things like that has nothing to do with fucking our job. Because I hate to say it, like I'd probably say a good 6 to 7 times out of 10, you're not doing what you're passionate about. You're not doing anything that like is like a super interest of yours. You're doing something to make your money and to pay your bills, to fund
Yeah.
things that you enjoy, like golf or
Yeah,
like
definitely.
gardening or like
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking hunting. Who the hell knows? You know what I mean? Sports. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
why are we so glued to having to yeah do what everyone expects and like
Mm-hmm.
live the way that people expect us to, you know?
But that's also my question too. Like, who's expecting that?
Yeah.
I said this to Kayla, and I was like really going through this because I'm really I was actually really more struggling with this episode than I was with Ben. And I don't know if that's just because I've been like deeply
We're so
immersed in the men's
biased.
stuff lately.
we
And
see it
yeah,
from
I think
such a
that's what it
different
is. I
way
think
as
right
women. I
now.
feel like we see men in a different way. Like Dusty probably would have had a completely different opinion. Like we should
Oh,
do a
absolutely.
revised
I know. We should almost have we'll do it in a
like
revised one.
episode with him next like season, and we should see what his
Yes.
take is on being a man. Because like for us, like yeah, it's very different
Yeah.
because we know what it is firsthand in a lot of cases of like the shit we go through, the
Hmm.
like pitfalls we go through, but also like kind of the easier stuff that women unfortunately do get a lot of the time that men don't. And
Absolutely.
like
Absolutely.
we do have our ups and downs, but like the downs, unfortunately, I hate to say it, are a little bit different than
Pretty
men's.
bad.
Quite, yeah,
Yes. Yes. And I'm
we're,
not saying that we're
we're
not by
the
any means. Like we've talked about
weaker
like
sex, right?
the
So like
weaker
ours
sex.
are
Yes,
a
of
little bit
course.
different, whereas we get manipulated and like bear over us versus like
Hmm.
it's very rare that a woman has that power over a man, in my opinion. Not
Definitely.
unheard of,
Yes.
but like it's not always a
Yes.
situation. Whereas yeah, like
Agreed.
our the shits we suffer is just very different. It's just so different.
Very
Nothing's
different.
worse or better. It's just very different. That's all.
Agreed. And I think that's with me is because I'm going through this like transformation in myself of like, and maybe that's why it's harder for me to look at all the injustices for women based on all the wins that we have had and the
Yeah.
things that we have changed. And although there's still lots of work to be done, like don't get me wrong, but I think because for myself, I'm like, okay, so we're saying society, but like who?
Who?
Who in
Us.
society came to you like personally and said, Haley, you can't work this way. You have to work a nine
Yeah.
to five. Or, Brandy, you did,
You're not
like,
allowed
so
to
I
do
had
it
to sit
this way.
back and
You
think,
have to
like,
do it this way. Yeah.
who? Yeah, who said that? Or are these just stories that
These are our
everybody else has told
societal
themselves
norms.
over
Yeah.
time to
Old
fit
wives'
into?
tales and
Exactly.
yeah.
But who says that if we don't do those things, like we're not going to die, right? So it's like, look, I understand everyone not liking the 9 to 5 and everyone wanting to be their own entrepreneurs, and I totally get that. I'm not saying I
Some
don't want
people
to be
that
that one
totally love
day.
that though.
But man, I fucking love corporate.
Yeah.
Like I hate some pieces of it, but we know I love it.
That's
Like
the thing.
when all these MLM hunbots fucking, and that's I want to get into that one on this
We
episode
need
because I'm gonna
people
leave that
like you
fucking
though.
hot for
That's the
next
thing.
month.
We need people like
That's
you.
what I
We need
mean,
people like
right?
me. We need everyone. We need the people that
Hmm.
enjoy the 9 to 5,
Exactly.
going to the office, doing Excel fucking
Yes.
spreadsheets and
Yes.
organizing that fucking
Yeah.
inventory, bitch. We need that
How else are you
because
gonna get your weed,
yeah,
Canada?
how else are you
Just
going to
kidding.
run things and like businesses and like we
Yes.
need that, but we also
Blue
need all the
collars and
physical
yeah,
labor. We all need the
totally.
mathematicians and the computer scientists and
Yeah.
like all sorts of scientists. Like we need
And
everyone.
that's the beauty that's the beauty of choice is my point. It's like if you're sitting in a spot and you're like, oh, I have to do this and I have to
No.
go to my 9 to 5 job. No, motherfucker,
No.
find another way. Find another job. You don't have to do that. Leave us for the fucking
Especially
suckers
us
that love it.
women,
Like
we need
I
to start following our heart
yes.
a little bit harder and stop doing what's
Yeah.
expected of us. We need our lady
Yeah, but
balls
like
to
quote
drop.
unquote. Yes. I think I'm trying to get to is like, ladies, these stories that are in our head that are telling us, they're made
Yeah.
up by magical creatures, okay? They're magical creatures
Hmm.
and that's it. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to work a Monday to Friday. You can work a Monday to Friday. You don't have to put your kid in school. You can homeschool them or you can. You can
Hell,
do
you
whatever
can
the fuck you
travel
want.
all
I
over
think
the
what it
mountains
is,
and live in the bush if you really want to. You
100%.
and your whole
You could
family.
literally
You
do
do,
whatever you
however,
want. It's
yeah.
the stories. It's the stories that you're telling yourself and you're continually telling yourself, and then you're getting mad at other
Yeah.
people for telling you that you have to be this way, but then are they physically telling you that? No. Like for me, I used to be like, okay, I must not be pretty because we've talked about this before, because I'm not Playboy Bunny.
Yeah.
And I must not be as pretty as other girls because other girls with big boobs get far more likes than I do. And at the end of the day, I started creating this story in my head of then that must mean that I'm not pretty because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Nobody, I mean, there's a handful of people I'm sure that have made comments, but no one actually came to me and say, Brandy, you're not beautiful because you don't have big boobs. Like, I'm sure, yes, there's been one or two
It's
trolls on
what
the
you
internet,
tell
but
yourself based
that's the
on what you're
thing. It's
seeing.
what we tell ourselves exactly
It's
because
our
we
own
are
narrative.
continually searching for validation. It's our own narrative. So that's what I'm trying to say is like, right now we can agree that men are getting hated on, so it's a lot easier because it is so outwardly clear,
It's just
especially
very
for
like
straight white male,
obvious.
that you're trash. Very obvious. Where it's like with women, like I feel like especially liberal women, no offense, y'all get away with fucking anything and everything, and you don't get held accountable for anything and these things that you're saying and doing. And this is where I wanted to turn to one of the biggest downfalls of being a woman: being manipulated because of your heart and your emotions. And
Yeah.
specifically, next season, y'all, I'm going to bring in some anti-MLMers onto the show because we've highlighted it in a positive way, and there is a lot of push about finding another stream of income. And I feel like this is one of the
Yeah.
areas, I'm sorry, those that are pro, that are going to be upset with me, that women get very much
I
taken
was going to
advantage.
say,
If you don't believe me, hashtag anti-MLM on YouTube. Come talk to me in a couple weeks
we
because
we
I'm getting
get
a little annoyed lately.
manipulated by a lot. Well, because one,
Yes.
like, yeah, we are a little more tender and we're softer, and sometimes we have more tendency to like hope for, like, not see the best or hope for the best, but see the best or hope for the
Mhm.
best in people.
Optimistic.
Yeah, we're just
Mhm.
optimistic, not that men
Second
aren't, but
chancers.
like, yeah. And like I said, because
They
we
don't
are
deserve.
women, we are automatically in the like inferior
Nurture.
position. I'd hate to say,
Oh,
like,
yes,
we
some
are in
people.
like the lower, like, like if we are going to meet someone off of Kijiji and I show up and it's some like big
Mhm.
dude, I'm immediately, I don't know this person, he could be the biggest teddy bear you've ever met, but I'm immediately going to like
Be a
like,
bit nervous.
yeah. And it puts a little bit of apprehension in you because we are, and it's not just men, women, we know how to play on each other and to get under, and that's
Mm-hmm.
MLM. A lot of them, the reason that there's armies of women and it seems like such a sisterhood and supportive group is because
Mm-hmm.
we are the easiest sold on lives like that. Like, I have an incredibly, one of my favorite teachers from high school who, I don't know. Is Rodan and Field a MLM?
Yes, it sure
I was
is.
gonna say it has always given
Mm.
me Mary Kay and like Avon type
Yes, is one of those
vibes.
like, yeah,
So like
Avon.
kind
Yeah.
of like that. So, but of
Yeah.
skincare, she does that, and she has been trying to sell and push and like send me emails, and she would message me every now and then, and it just like kind of breaks my heart because it really like ruins relationships. We had a friend do that
Really does.
world insurance, like, I don't remember, he tried to get me into
Oh,
Merc for
yes,
that,
yes. Yep. I remember which one you're
and
talking
he
about.
was trying to get me in, and like I almost did, and then I kind of like, there's something I was like, I don't like this, like, you're too pushy. I'm
Primerica?
not. No, it was
Oh,
world
there was
I,
Primerica too, I think,
it was
but
a like acronym, it was 3 letters, I don't remember. But yeah, it's just, it kind of ruins relations because I know what you're getting at. I know exactly where you're going with what you're saying. I know none of your conversations with me, or they don't feel genuine anymore. They feel like you're just trying to like sales
mm-hmm.
pitch me towards the end, and like you just tune the friendly chit chat, and like we just get so
Yeah.
bought into that because some people are very lonely, and some people
Mm-hmm.
need the money, and some people
Yes.
are just very optimistic and like, I'm going to make money with this group of
Yes.
girls. I'm going to make money with, hell, my mom
Mm-hmm.
got
Look at the
screwed over
sisterhood.
for this, like, she's just giving it away now, this vacuum cleaner that I've heard rumors from my
Mm.
dad and from friends of hers that it was like a $3,000 vacuum cleaner when I was like, before I was born. She had to like do payments on it and all that, like it was just like door to door vacuum salesman.
Yes, it's like a
Dinged.
rainbow carpet or something.
It's like
Yeah.
this huge clunky fucking 30-some-year-old fucking bullshit that I fixed when I was 16, taking it apart somehow miraculously.
Oh
Like,
God.
it's just, we get
Turn
duped
into
and
a mechanic.
manipulated really hard,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's like the new
Yes.
thing, that woman that got trafficked or picked up because they used a child to lure her, because we're just a little bit more softer, and we're
Yes, we
always
just
going to
seen that.
stop for
Yeah.
a helpless child on the side of a fucking highway. If
Yes.
I had Evie with me and
Yes.
I didn't know, like, it would take everything in me to not want to stop, and or I'd at least have to call the
Yes.
cop and say there's a child wandering, I can't stop, I have my child, I don't feel safe. But like,
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
people, that's not, they're going to be their first instinct of, I don't feel safe. It's going to
Nope.
be, this fucking child needs me,
Oh my
this
God, I need
child
to
needs my
help.
help,
Yes.
this person
Yes.
needs
And
my
with
help,
AI
this
too.
woman needs my
And
help,
with
like,
yes. And have you heard that AI call of
yeah.
someone using a mom's voice with a
There
daughter? Like,
was,
y'all, again, we just talked about how we weren't going to be dark and we are going to try
I'm
and be
gonna
a
send you
little bit
a
lighter,
video
but
because
you
there's one
guys.
where they use, it was talking about parents posting your children's pictures online and AI using the likeness to
Mhm.
turn them into an adult, or to use their voice from videos to
Mhm.
make horrifying, scary crank calls and scam calls. Like, it's getting bad, and like the
Mhm.
vulnerability of like especially women and like elderly women breaks my heart. That whole
Mhm.
catfish era, which still goes on, but like when it was big, like when we were
It
kind of like
does.
in our 20s, where like the huge
Yes.
catfish era of like all these women getting scammed out of like hundreds of thousands of dollars because some man overseas or in Nigeria or
Yes.
China or
Send you an
Spain
email.
or like
Yeah.
Australia,
Some prince,
some when you met on a
prince of
chat site
Uruguay.
that's like some mining mogul that
Yeah.
needs cash here and there because it's liquid right now and lingo. But
Yeah.
like
Yes.
we fall into a different kind of vulnerable prey kind of
We do.
situation, and it
Because we're
sucks.
emotional too.
Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to bring up MLM. That's why I want to bring it on
Yeah.
more. And then it's, and again, I'm not hating on you guys for having
It's not a hate
your
thing, but
income and making your money.
when you've been affected by it and taken advantage of it
Hmm.
negatively, it hits you.
Several
And there's
times.
sometimes where you can be
It
taken
does.
advantage of and you're not even realizing it because you're still working, you're still making
Hmm.
decent money, but in a lot of cases you are still being like manipulated and preyed on. It's just you're not going to see it
Yep.
that way, and it is just a lesser version then because you are actually still profiting or benefiting in some way. But when you've had a negative experience
Yes.
like Brandy, I'm sorry to say, opinions are opinions, and if you don't like it, just don't tune into that episode because it's rightful
No.
anger because they really do prey on
Yes.
you sometimes in very disgusting ways and desperate ways, like single mothers. Shout out to single mothers out there because it is not a
Oh,
fucking easy job and you get fucking targeted
no.
through everything. Wasn't there
So
like
much.
that? Didn't
Yes.
you say you saw at the beach? That single.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that too, and I want to come back to MLMs, but like it just made me kind of sad about society because I just sat back and there was this old fellow there, and you can
Yeah.
tell that he was like, and from what I seen, he looked like an innocent old man. He just came down with his Timmies. He was just like watching everybody. It kind of looked like maybe he was missing his wife. Like it looked really sad. And there was this mom, a single mom by herself, and she had her kid, and she was like packing up all their things, and she kind of looked like she was struggling, but not quite a bit. Like she was still bossing her way. And the old man just said, "Ma'am, can I help you?" And she immediately was like, "No, thanks," and like kept going. And like, I'm not shading her. I'm not saying anything. I understand the repercussions.
Hmm.
It just broke my heart inside because that man literally
That's
looked
where
like
we
he
are as
just wanted to
society.
fucking help. And that's where we are in a society where an old man can't even like, and then some women will say men don't help and men don't step in, which I
Yeah.
had a conversation
Oh,
with a friend
I was
actually
first
was
to
like
say that a while ago.
argument, yeah, an
Yeah.
argument about, like he was basically saying like if he's seen somebody being assaulted or attacked, especially a female in a certain area, he wouldn't help them because they're known to record and then charge this like you for trying to help. And it really upset me because I was like, this is so sad for people that are actually in help. This is so sad for people that actually need
Hell,
help or saying I need help, and people don't want to help because when they go to ask, like I've seen women where a man goes to open a door and she's like, I can do it myself. Like, ugh,
I've told the
that
story
has nothing to
before
do
when
with
I
if you
was
can
like
open the door.
eight
Like,
and
fuck
9 months
off.
pregnant, trying to lift those big 5 gallon jugs into my trunk and like
Mm,
into the cart
mm.
from the like
No one
filling them
was there
up,
to help
and
you.
no one offered, not a single person. I am
Mm-mm,
fat and huge,
mm-mm.
swollen, sweating like a pig, like bad, and not a single person the entire time I was pregnant offered anything. And I had like every sort of person walking by me as they see me doing this, see me struggling, like I didn't ask for
Mhm.
help, so like that's fine. But like the fact that like
Yep.
no one, like I don't know why, and like maybe it's
Just
because
offers
just because I was
anymore.
pregnant, yeah, no one offered. But to the flip coin of what you
Sure.
were saying, it's sad that that woman felt that like for all we know she like it was like stranger danger type thing, like some old man is
100%.
coming to ask me, like
100%.
we don't have
Yes.
the fortunate luxury of being able to trust just any man, dog, human, woman, child. Like we don't, and like you can really
No.
wish we did, but like we don't have that luxury.
No.
I am
Yes.
walking alone and I see a man of any color, stature, anything coming towards me and it's dark. My immediate reaction is to want to put my keys between my fingers. And I hate that. But it
And
is
that's totally
just
fair.
look at all the shows that we watch. Look at all the like it is geared towards
Hmm.
scaring us women. All kinds of
Yes.
like, the grape TV, like the crime shows where they show grape scenes. I don't want to say the actual words so we don't get
Hmm.
dinged.
Yes. Yeah. So we don't get in trouble. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
like all sorts of like all those, yeah, like the murder shows, those are mostly geared towards women. All sorts of like I don't know, I just feel like we're always trying to be put in a perpetual state of fear, and it really does work. Like, I want to be able to trust
Yes, it
people, and
does.
I innately do to a certain degree, but I also go off my gut
Mhm.
feeling, and that is something that women need to like really lean into and trust, is like your gut always knows
Yes.
something, and if you feel something is off ever in
Yes.
any situation,
Yes.
then it is off,
Yeah.
and you go with that and trust it, and like you can apologize if you offend someone later, because truly you're better safe than
Yes.
sorry. And it just, it's one of those things, like, I don't
I
want to
think
be
to
negative, and
me,
I don't want to be like a downer, and I don't want to
yes.
make it sound scary and
No, I
super gloom and
know.
doom, but like at
I
the
know.
same time, it's like we're trying to like, I think going forward, our big thing is, yeah, we want to impart just like useful things and like comforting, that you know some information. Like, I like to be aware of
Mhm.
a lot more than I need to,
Same.
more than I need to stress about, but like being aware and
Yeah.
just knowing to me is the comfort of like, okay, I know, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
nice. Like, I
Yeah.
am so hyper vigilant when I go out with Evie. I found $20 on the sidewalk today, and Nick didn't even notice it. He's like, dude,
Oh my God.
I'm so aware of things. I'm surprised I didn't see that first. I'm like, see, I was like, there is something about my sight, my everything, that is just
Level.
so hyper vigilant when I'm out and about. More so now when I have
Mhm.
Evie, especially in parking lots. Obviously, she's 2. She likes to run around like a freaking monkey.
Bat out of hell.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just,
No, but it's true.
it's sad that we
I
have
just
to
think
like think that way, you know. That's what I'm getting at, is just like that we
yes.
have to be
Yes,
super
and I
vigilant,
that's
and that woman was either frustrated because the kid wasn't, or whatever the case is, you don't
yeah.
know, but yeah, to like think that she
Yes.
could have been thinking like, no sir, get away from me, when all he was, yeah, like
Yes.
missing his wife and just kind of wanted to help and have a human interaction
And
and
seen her
just kind of,
struggling and
yeah,
just wanted to be a gentleman and I totally get it. I get where she came from. I
sad,
just sat there in a moment. I looked at Grant and I was like, that fucking sucks because he just looked completely like okay. And
yeah,
like I said, I almost wanted to ask him to go hang out. It actually broke my heart because I was like, this poor man, but I totally get it. Like, you know, and I think for me, it's just like, okay, if we're gonna say no because we're protecting ourselves, can we at least be kind and be
yeah.
like, no, sir, or thank you so
No,
much.
thank
I'm
you.
okay,
Yeah,
but I
I hope
really
you have a good
appreciate the
day.
offer.
Yeah.
Like, hope you have a great day. Like, enjoy your coffee. Like, where did humanity and kindness? Because by you saying that,
Yeah.
you're in a public space too. Like, we're sitting right there. And I
Yeah.
understand a lot of people wouldn't do stuff, but come on, if we seen a fucking guy grab a child and stuff, like I'm aware. I'm also aware. This is also why I
Yeah.
want to bring it into people's attentions. Get off your phone in public. Like,
We need to
I'm
start.
terrible at it. I got to do it too, but
I
I need
actually
to
left
start
my
putting
phone
that
at
shit
home today by
away.
accident when we went and did running around, and it's probably one of my favorite things
I
to
love
do.
that.
I hate it
Yes,
when I'm out
agreed.
because I like to
Because
take
I feel
pictures of
so.
Evie and like things of that when we're out and about
Me too.
exploring and like experiencing things. But I also really enjoy just not having it, because I am looking at things and more aware, and like talking
Yes.
to Nick and like
Yeah.
engaging with Evie and like saying hi to people
And
and
people
like
around you.
making little comments
Like,
and jokes
that's the
with people
thing.
doing groceries and stupid things like, oh my god, you see the
Yeah.
$17 butter over there, like stupid shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
I just, we
But
are
we can't do that
so,
anymore.
I feel like this is a weird episode, because this is, I think, talking
I
about
know
men,
it's not really about women.
kind of just made me realize that like as a balance and as a whole, like we all have our downsides, but men and women are both struggling equally as shitty. But like, just as a whole society, like
Yes.
Nick and I, when we go to the cabin, we wave at people constantly. Here you can't
Hmm.
do that to everyone. We
Yes.
actually got some waves when we went biking
No.
yesterday, and I was just like, fuck yes, like finally, like,
Yes.
oh, like I'm just so sick of people being
But you
so
know
like
why?
weary of one another.
You know why?
Yeah,
We
because
know
we,
why. It's because we're away from each other. And because the thing is, and I've said this about porn, it gives you fake connections. Social media gives you this fake idea that you're being social and you have all these
that you
friends and
can
you have
reach
all these
people from the
connections,
comfort of your
that you
home.
can reach people, that you don't need to do it in real life. And you know what? That person, because everyone's bad on social media, that person's probably a bad person. But when you talk to them, they're actually probably nice. So in the same way, I've been trying to like, especially with people at like the grocery store in
Yeah.
Lake Country, Save On. I don't know if anybody listens that is from Lake Country, but you know those women at Save On, they're literally like my life. They're so kind. What did you do this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, I see you got a burn. Did you? Are
And
you
it
enjoying your
makes their
summer?
day
How's your
though to
day?
talk to you. You
It
can
makes
tell.
their day to talk to them. And I just like and I see so many people just like, and I'm guilty of it too. Again, I said on my Instagram stories, when I call this shit out, I'm just as guilty trying to repattern myself here. But I'm like, why can't I have
Yeah.
human connections? Why am I so annoyed that I have
Or
to
like
stand in
small
line and talk to
talk.
this person?
Nick and I had to introduce ourselves to
Yeah.
our new neighbor today, and like there's like some awkward silence because it's like, what do you say to meeting, like, hey,
Hmm.
where are you
But
from?
just don't
Like,
go through
what's going
it.
on? Like,
Yeah.
well, we
Yeah.
live
Why are you
here. This is
here?
my
Do you?
dog. Like, this is your new
Yeah.
neighbor.
This
Like,
is my
find out
cat.
about them.
Yeah.
Like, But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
because Nick and I have lived here for 10 years. We know our one neighbor, Sandy, pretty well. Um, and that was it though. Like we knew Stan, the guy
Yeah.
that moved in next door. He bought Stan's house. We knew of Stan. Stan was an older man with Parkinson's,
Yes.
so it's not like we had tons in common. We weren't hanging out, but we knew who he
Yeah.
was. But other than that, like
Yeah.
we smile at the neighbors across the way. I'm pretty sure the husband's name is Blair. He helped Nick with a tire once. But 10 years and
Oh,
we
I
haven't
love
said
that.
hello to our neighbors, and it's just like we
I
realizing
know.
like it's so like back in the day, like people like I've even seen one of my friends, their
That
whole
was your
neighborhood
community.
and their whole cul-de-sac had a block party.
A
And
party.
it was like
Yes, we
every
do that
family
too.
out in the streets, like drawing chalk, playing with bubbles, water fights, barbecues, having some drinks, good laughs, badminton. Like, it was the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen. I was like, dude, that makes me want to do that. Like, where did that go? Like,
Mhm.
Sunday barbecues down the street at Joe's because church is done and everyone goes and meets
Yes,
after for
I
like
know.
lunch. Like, I don't
I
go to
miss
church and
it.
like that's totally cool, but like
No.
the sense of community, we
I
are
go to a
so
barbecue.
lost as a community. We think we're so
Yes,
tight and
we
so
are.
together and like everything's so progressive and everyone can do them and like we're just all like
Mm-mm.
loving each other, but we are not. We are so
Apart, we're good.
so far apart. To me it is like
Yes.
disgustingly scary that we think we're so like united. We are
No, we're not
the
pretending to be.
farthest from united. Everything is conquer and
Yes.
divide these days, or divide and conquer,
Yes,
whatever.
we just talked about that today. It's just like
Yeah,
another fight,
everything.
like we talked about what's political sides. But yeah, since we really didn't talk about women in this, and I do love this, let's go back to some of the
Oh,
things. I think
absolutely.
the one thing the one thing that I do feel, and I think that for me, again, like it's just currently working through these patterns of being like, yes, there are industries and people that make money that are putting stories out there
Yeah,
to make you feel like shit to buy their
on
product. Yes, but
purpose.
that's not a female targeted thing.
Mm-mm.
That's just everyone across the board. It's just different
How
for
to
women. So
manipulate people
women,
into
in
buying your
my
product.
opinion, yeah, so in my opinion, women do get bullied more in the beauty area in their looks because men do, for some reason, get away more with, let's say, dad bods. But that doesn't say that men don't have body dysmorphia, especially with their hair and like their bodies. I'm not saying that. But let's be honest, the beauty industry, the fashion industry does not attack you and hold on to you, and you because men don't, I think, value their worth and their looks nearly as much as
Well,
women
we're
do,
we're made to though.
which is
We're
weird.
told we have
Yes,
to.
but
Our looks
which is weird
are is our value.
because we have the power. We have the power. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be this way. And like, I'm not saying anything about great victims. Like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is in everyday relationships, for the most part,
Yeah.
sex is held in the woman's hand. Like, let's be
Pussy
honest
power,
here.
I'm
Like, most
sorry.
men will fuck pussy power 100%, man. And did you say,
It
was it your aunt that said
yeah,
that or
it's
someone?
our since I was
Yeah.
13, it is our choice.
Yes.
We are the
It
ones
is
that
our
hold
choice.
that decision card. Whether you want to admit it or not, I
Exactly.
don't care. You can be as
Exactly. So
persuasive
the
if you
down
want. We hold that.
We do. And I think the downside to that is then having to feel like you need to be the most attractive so you
Yeah.
continually have that pussy power of that man in front of you. And I think that's where we're really being disservice. Like, I really love talking about with Dr. K the other day how he found it a little bit interesting how implant
Yeah.
therapists are also explanting. And we talked about that after, how it's like there are people in the industry that are going to like
Telling the
problem,
sickness
what was
and
it?
the cause.
Problem, like
Solution.
causing the issue. I don't even remember what's that word someone says, like
Yeah.
cause
Problem and cause. They're playing both
and the
sides of the
solution.
field. Yeah. Cause and
And then
solution.
they have
Yeah.
the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So whatever that
They're
is. So it's just
selling you
like
a
we're gonna
problem and
make
then the
women.
solution at the same time.
Yes, and so with like trends, this is
Conflict of
why women that
interest.
keep up with trends, very much so, and like women, and with trends, this is why I try to say like talking about trends when you're changing your hairstyle and you're changing your clothes is one thing, but mutilating your body to a trend is very dangerous
Well, big
because you're
boobs,
never going to
small
be able to
boobs,
stop.
big butt,
Big boobs,
small
small
butt,
boobs, big butt,
lips.
little butt. Right now we've got nothing but like plastic on your face, but I feel like especially with all the stuff that's coming out about how bad it is, who
Dude,
knows?
who can blame some people? Look at that filter I sent you earlier. Like some of the things,
That's what
like
I'm saying. We
it's
literally just talked about this today.
brutal. Like I do not look like that. That is a very much a flawless,
No,
air filtered, airbrush, whatever the hell you want to call it, version of me. And yeah, I look good, but like that is not what
you
I
look like
look
a movie
like.
star.
That is not what I will ever look like, even with all the
No.
fillers and the Botox and the this and the that. Like
Yes.
I would just
Yes.
rather not fight trying to look like something that I'm not and keep what I have, because at least what I have is natural. I will age natural, and I'm not
It's
going to
annoying.
have the complications of, yeah, like that's all they're trying to load into is complications that they can then
All the
sell
same.
you a fix to. And we are
And we talked about this before.
huge targets of that, like B said. Like, men do get
100%.
targeted, but like we get
Look at
targeted.
those.
Men don't have makeup. Men don't have, like, they got
Mm-mm.
hair stuff, but not to our extent. They've got like the bald
Not to our extent.
and like
Gray
gray
hair.
hair and like facial hair and like stuff like that. And skin stuff is pretty universal too, but like makeup alone is a mental,
Lip
oh
size.
my
Like, and
god,
again,
like
let's talk about this for a second because
mental
Candace
fuck.
Owens brought this up, and I'm gonna piss a lot of women off, but I'm sorry. This is about you too, and the good and the bad. We said something. Women don't want to listen. Women don't want to listen when they like something and men don't. They don't want to hear it. Now, Candace Owens did a post and she got fucking dragged. And I love this goddamn post because it said, do men actually like the plastic look, the fillers, the
The
Botox?
lips, the boobs, the fillers.
90% of y'all said, the men said no. And all of you women lost it on the men. Now, let me get this straight. I mean this in the kindest way. Again, we might lose some followers. I apologize, team. But here's the thing. If you didn't do yourself up every single day during lockdowns and you didn't do those things on every single day, then I'm sorry, you're not doing it for yourself. And so if we're not doing it for ourselves, who are we doing it? We're doing it for men.
External
And the men are saying they
validation.
don't like it.
Yeah.
And it's external validation. And you are going to continue on and being a
It's
victim of
it's
the
because we're
beauty
told
industry
that's what men
if you
like.
feel like you're lacking. And exactly. And I'm
Hollywood
not saying that it's not, but I'm just
and
saying
our
Hollywood.
icons,
Yes.
our role
Yes.
models.
The people that, yes. And then when people say, why do you care why people do this? Because they shape people's thoughts and the societal stories that they're telling them
Hell,
and that we have to continually not tell
like
ourselves.
you were saying, trends. Look at Kim Kardashian. She went from short, stocky, huge ass, huge, massive titties, had to be like this complete hourglass figure. Now she wants to look like fucking Marilyn Monroe and be like completely no tittied and like no, like
Mhm.
the trend of it, and
And how dangerous is that?
like the 20s,
How
30s,
dangerous is
40s,
that?
50s, like it always changes the standard of beauty, but like
Hmm.
we need to get back to, yeah, like
But it didn't
it's not a
progress.
standard
But
of
it was,
beauty, it's just who you are.
no.
It's just people, like everyone's different. I don't
Yes.
understand why, like, we are all seriously for all way, like we know better. Not everyone is the same
Hmm.
shape, size. We do not all fit the same mold, but for some fucking reason we are all trying to walk through that mold, no matter which way we can get our way through there. Like, I just,
Hmm.
yeah, like I'm having a hard time these days, especially with like a lot of our community knowing like what is in things, looking
What
at
we know.
ingredients, looking at all sorts of toxins that aren't good for us and hidden things. And there's still a vast majority of people that like indulge in like plastic surgery or like Botox and stuff. And like, you do you. It's not a judgment. It's
Hmm.
just still kind of like confusing at the like it's like not a conflict of interest, but like a conflicting, like you don't like the heavy metals and like the toxins in your water, and you hand make a bunch of your stuff, but you also inject yuckies into your face.
It's very, yes. And like, I know
It's all
I'm
personal
struggling with that too
preference,
because
but
I was
it's still
having
one of
those.
those.
100%.
Mhm.
100%. And
Yeah.
I think that's where it's like, it's one thing if you're doing those things and like hustling on the side and like you're trying to do your stuff better and you can't, you have some things that you need to do and you can't work through. I totally get it. But it's when you start preaching to other
Yeah,
people
it's
and
when you
start
start
calling out
pushing
other
it. Yeah.
people's shit and pushing and being like, oh, what I do is so healthy and so that
Yeah.
buy what my thing because all I care about is my health.
Yeah.
But then you're literally injecting toxins into your face. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to be fucking real. And that is what our goddamn show is about being real and honest and the disservice to women. And women, we are doing a disservice to each other by celebrating all the things that we quote unquote hate about the patriarchy that are trying to keep
We
us
are
down.
our
We talked about this
worst
before. We
enemy.
are our worst
But I
enemies.
also like how you see all these videos nowadays where like there's that one girl saying that she doesn't like makeup at all. She thinks it's like completely terrible for girls to wear makeup, and all the girls sitting around the table who had a face full of makeup were like dirty looks
You're
and stuff.
terrible.
Like,
You're
we're
not
not,
about women empowerment. It's like,
or like
really? I'm trying to tell you, you don't need anything to be
the
beautiful,
women
but
that like
okay.
say like I like to come home and take care of my man and make him food and like make him sandwiches and like do his laundry and prep his lunch and like do all that, and like I take pride in doing that and I quite enjoy that, and then they're
Me
gonna
too.
turn the flip and say, okay, well, we're not in the 50s, like calm the fuck down, because
Yes,
you don't do that for your
100%.
husband, and he probably secretly would. Like Nick wishes I made his lunch. Do I know he eats leftovers for what we make for supper? I will grab him the
Yes,
container to load it
100%.
into, but like
Yeah.
we have our balance and like we do our thing, but like there are
Mhm.
a lot of, yeah, like it's just one of those things you don't like to be told you're not doing what someone wishes, like you're not what they
Mhm.
wish,
It's
like
hard.
they, like it's
Yeah,
not
it's a
like that,
hard
but you
pill to
know what I'm trying to
swallow.
say, like you're not
Yes.
doing what they kind of want you to, and it's not like
Or
you just feel less than, you feel
maybe
lesser
it's
than, and like you're
m-
not, you
yeah.
know, I don't know.
And maybe it's so much like maybe, and I want women to think about this too because I think about this too. Maybe men are trying to say those things or don't know how to say those things because they see that it's not good for
Yeah,
you. Like, I'm sorry, there's some people that just need to fucking stop getting surgery, to stop getting Botox, to stop getting fillers. And it's not because I think you look bad or I'm trying to judge you. The toxic load you're putting on your body
body.
and the mental fuckery you're doing with your head because, like, in my opinion, if you're going to keep doing it, when are you going to stop though? Like, when are you going to stop? Because, like, there's a
It's an
dysmorphia that
addiction.
happens that
It's
you
and it's a
just, it's an
dysmorphia. It's
addiction,
never
just like
enough. It's
anything
never
else.
straight
It's
enough. It's
never
never
enough.
plumped enough. It's never like chiseled enough. Like, and then you end up looking like this like weird round blob with like
Same as
no
everybody
features,
else.
because like if you look at the progression of some people with specifically facial plastic surgery and facial fillers and stuff, like they all end up looking the same, and it is deformed,
Very
puffy. Like
much.
look at the crazy cat lady that I don't remember her name
Mm-hmm.
ever, but like she just like looks puffy and weird, and like look at Sylvester Stallone, puffy and kind of
Oh
weird,
my
and like
God. Yes.
just some of the older men and women that
It's
are
just
just
too
like
much.
injecting, and like if they would have just left it alone, they probably would have aged so much more gracefully, but like
Gracefully.
it just
Yes.
it's just very like
Makes me sad.
it's just jarring that people continue down the path once they know, but it's like you said, like it's just it's a dysmorphia that kicks in where now it's not this, or now it does this and we need to fix that, well now there's this and it's not quite perfect. You're never going to get it perfect. Like I'm sorry, you will
No.
never,
No.
the chance and the like the occasions where it comes out perfectly exactly the way you would, no complications, no nothing, is, I'm gonna probably go out on a limb and say a zero. It
Probably.
can
I
look the
don't
way
know that
you
everything
want,
comes
but
with a
down the
risk.
road, there
It's
the
not going to.
chances of something going sideways, or you developing something even as minor as like sinuses or like something, especially in the face
Mhm.
area, like that is such a big like vulnerable
Oh
sensitive
yeah.
area to me. It stresses me out. But like
Yes.
something like, even I had a like a cyst grow here. It was just a lump,
Yes,
a
you
bump,
did.
and like Nick hated it. He
Yeah.
points it out all the time. He says he didn't hate it, but like he constantly like, it's getting big, like it's like, shut up. So I finally went and got it removed, and the doctor said
Stressful.
that there was a chance that if he hit one of the nerves, my eye would either be stuck like this, and I like blinking wouldn't be good, and like I wouldn't be able to close my eye completely, or he can hit something in there to where like I can't close this eye at all. Like it is just so sensitive, and people injecting stuff in here to like the Botox and like your forehead and stuff, like there's big nerves in there that can like really paralyze
Hmm.
you, and like I
Hmm.
just, that
And it
whole thing
has.
stresses me out.
Don't
And
think it
I've heard
hasn't.
that like lip fillers hurt like a bitch. Maybe I'm just a
Well,
puss,
I
but
don't
like
know, but
I don't want
maybe.
like pain to look like a, I just, it's so not often that it just doesn't either look painfully obvious or overdone. Like how often are
Painful.
people getting
Yes.
subtle plastic surgery? Like I feel like it's kind of,
Not
it's not
often.
very often. It's not very like,
No.
it's not a
And
common
I think you just have to know
occurrence.
yourself too, right? You just have to know
Yeah.
yourself. Like, I know my body doesn't react well. I know I have body dysmorphia and face dysmorphia and self
But not
image
a lot of
issues.
people
I know
are
that if I'm
can see that on
aware,
themselves, right?
can
Or
say
that
that. Yeah.
self-aware, and
Yeah.
like they just want it fixed now because they're miserable and think it's going to fix their like entire life, and it don't.
Yes. And
But that's
unfortunately,
the
it doesn't.
pressures we
And I
live
think
under,
that's my biggest.
because if you don't fix
Yes.
it,
Yeah.
there's something wrong with you, and then
No.
your value goes down, and then you're
Yes.
like, we are just in a very different category of breakdown than men. Men is more of like a
Yes.
break them down physical, break them down mental weakness that way,
Yes.
whereas we're just all mental and emotional. We're not so much a
Yeah. Yeah.
physical. It's very rare that I feel like our
No.
our our breakdown is physical. Ours is mental and mostly
Yes.
emotional. Play on them and fucking,
Yes. But that
especially like,
leads to physical.
well, especially with our cycles and like our hormones being so much more up and down, and like no, like the knowledge of
Yes.
that being out there, like they know that they, they have a very good chance at hitting at least some women in a very emotional, sensitive, like
Hmm.
vulnerable state in a lot of cases. Like you said with
Yeah.
MLMs and stuff, like I feel like there's some women that would think that way because it is cutthroat and it is
Yes.
ruthless. And then there's some people that, yeah,
It
just
is.
want to stay home with their kids and make some cash, and good for you.
And I
And I
totally
don't
get
want to
that. And
hate
good
on
for
that. And
you.
like,
And so you
if
should.
that's what your true
Nope.
life calling is working that way, then that's fine. But like, if
And
you're
you're
doing it
honestly
up
making
and
money.
doing it honestly and being like a genuine
Uh-huh.
person that you want to
A good
help
person.
people, like that whole wellness box, if you are genuinely doing it because you want to help people spend their money properly and like earn, and like that's fine, but then I feel like you know what you're getting into, so there's always that element of you have to make money. These people are essentially dollar signs, not that you see them that way, but
Yes.
that's what they are. Like that is your
No.
income,
But
that
that's what
is
they are. They're
your
business. It's
stream.
business.
Yeah, it's a business, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. It's no
yeah,
different from corporate. You guys in
yeah,
MLMs could say that you're different from corporate, but you're not.
you have your own
Because you have a
version of
corporation
corporate.
that runs your company.
Yeah, you
You
have
have
your
your own
own.
version of corporate. You still have to report. You still have marketing team. You still have an HR
Yeah,
department. You still have all those things. You are fucking corporate. You just get to work from
yeah.
home and whatever. Anyways, but I think what my biggest thing too is for me, and again, like maybe I'll piss a lot of people off. I'm not meaning this in the bad way. I'm just
No.
meaning this because I've gone through a lot of this shit and I'm watching it from this kind of view, and I'm seeing people tell me that they hate the patriarchy and they hate society standards, yet we are
Feed into
literally the
it.
ones funding it. We're feeding into it. And then we tell each other, yes, queen, go get all that plastic surgery. You do, you boo. You don't need a man. You need all these things. I feel like this like independent woman girl boss thing is actually destroying women
That it's the
more
feminist thing. It's the exact
than it
same thing.
actually, it's the feminist
It's
thing.
pushing this new
Exactly.
thing
So it's
for us
like,
to be
fuck
like
off.
all and all, like to be
All and
everything,
everything, all
everything,
the
and
time.
everything, and push us to our limits. That's kind of like,
Yes.
I saw this
Hmm.
thing that said, if everyone just like, we all talk about, oh, I hate my job, I hate this, I hate that, and like collapsing the system. If literally every single person decided tomorrow that we weren't going to go to work on Monday, do you not realize the impact and the absolute chaotic like turn of events that that could create? Like if us women just
Hmm.
decided one day that these norms are fucking no longer, like this is done,
Yep.
we are not going to
Yep.
idolize the size 000 anymore, we are not going to idolize the huge tit, like huge fake weird looking badonks, like the like super skinny, super fat like Lizzo, sorry, but like we're not
Yes.
going,
No. I
it's
was just gonna
not
say,
going
can we
to be
also include
extremes.
the new obesity thing?
Can it just
Yeah.
be like you are who you are, strive for health no matter what that looks like,
Mhm.
because my size of
And
health is going to
wellness.
look extremely different from Brandy's. Brandy's very much petite and
Hmm.
I am very much not, like, you know what I mean? Like there's just, we are all different,
Hey,
and that is
you
very
have boobs and I don't. Fuck off.
right, but we are all different and that is perfectly fine.
And that's what makes us
But we need to
beautiful.
start just
Yes.
like yeah, like everyone's different, and that definitely comes to a limit because we are currently going through the very much everyone's different bullshit that we, with the alphabet crew, and
Hmm.
like having to like
Almost too unique.
bend for everyone. But like it just comes down to
Yes.
that whole movement, every movement, no matter your skin color, your sex, your race, your religion, I don't give a fuck. You are your own person, you are very unique, your
Hmm.
circumstances are different than everyone else's, but we all need to
Yeah.
learn to work together. Like we just need to come together. Like
Yes.
this is, in my opinion, that is what our biggest thing going through this whole men and women's thing. Like we just all
Hmm.
need to start doing better for ourselves and just for everyone else. Like the sense of community
Hmm.
is just dead. I don't know how else to say it.
Yes.
It is our women's community. We want to talk a mean game. Like yes, queen, we support, but like this
Hmm. Is it
friendship group
positive?
is one of the first that I've had, besides my other friendship group of girls, that like through thick and thin, like you can have a bad day, you can vent, you can do whatever, but like it's just you genuinely want to see them succeed. It's not a jealousy thing. You're not
Yes.
like, it's not nothing
Mm-hmm.
to do with any of that. Like, it's just nice to see people like genuinely give a shit and be excited for you when shit happens, or like bummed for you when shit doesn't go your way, and
Empathetic.
like
Yep.
just
And
like
validate that.
because like they're going through shit too, and they're gonna need it eventually too, your
Mm-hmm.
shoulder to fucking cry on. But we're so evolved, and like we need to have the best cars, we need to have the best job, we need to make the most money, and so like tunnel
Have
vision
the
that
most
like
likes.
we don't say hi to our neighbors anymore, we don't reach out to
Mm-mm.
people, like things like
Too busy getting that
Brandy's
outside
friendship,
validation.
like our friendship is like, this is the blessing. Like we rag on the internet and
It
stuff.
is.
This is a blessing of the internet that we get to have a friendship and I
Yes.
get to see you and we get to have conversations
Totally.
like this. But you need to also, when
Yes.
you have the opportunity to have those conversations in real fucking time and real people,
100%.
throw your
Yes.
phone on fucking do not disturb, set it next to you with your keys, and everyone should play that
Mm-hmm.
game. Whoever touches their phone first pays the fucking bill. You don't want to pay the whole bill, don't fucking touch your
Yes.
phone, and everyone
Mm-hmm.
will split it at the end. Because truly, like,
Yeah.
our phones are like handy. I'm really tempted to just get a flip phone and go back to T9 texting
I
because
know.
I don't want the internet at all because it's so distracting.
Me
But like
neither.
they are so
I
handy and they can
know.
be such a good useful tool, but like they pull away from like our just everything. They pull away from our connection with
Yes.
our fellow woman, they pull away from our connection with our family, with our like
Our
husbands, our kids,
spouses, our
our
friends, our
family,
family,
like just everything, right?
ourselves.
Ourselves most
Ourselves. Like, how
importantly.
much more time
Who
could you
knows who,
give
yeah.
back to yourself if you weren't scrolling? Like, seriously, I seen this quote the other day and it was like,
Yeah.
being successful is 5% success and 95% not being distracted by your phone. And I was like, 100%, because so many of us, how many of you could say, oh, but I'm just doing my business. Oh, I'm just like me.
We don't,
I'm doing very good. I went from 3 hours of Instagram a day to an hour and 15, maybe an hour 20, including spending like 20, 30 minutes on the podcast page, trying to make sure that things are linked and da da da. But I actually had to sit down and go, what are you not accomplishing your goals? Or are you just not fucking prioritizing?
yeah.
Because again, as society and these stories, it's like the more your online presence, the more successful you're going to be, the
Yeah.
more da 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 da. And it's like, okay, so then I sat back around and I was like, but who's here if I need them? Like, I have all
Yeah.
these friends
I
online,
know.
and I mean this kindly to everybody, but if I was to book something for everyone to do, I'm afraid no one's going to show up anymore. And I
I
don't know if
actually
anybody
have a
else feels
friend
that way.
who's
Maybe
going
I'm a
through that.
loser,
No, I have a friend who's going through that
but I'm really
online
struggling with people and
promotion
their
and
plans.
online how would I put it? Like our thing, like the podcast page and stuff, that thing is so hard
Mhm.
these days because it is so hard to get a
Oh my God.
genuine interaction. Like when we post questions or
Yes.
like polls and
No
shit,
one
the
answers.
amount of fucking people that it's usually me, Brandy, Kayla that are answering our own fucking
Yeah.
polls and questions because
It is.
I hate to say it and we love you all, but like
We love
engaging
you
with
all,
stuff
but
is like I try to engage when people do stuff like
so
that because I
hard.
know how hard it is and how frustrating. Like I posted
Me
actually
too.
something
Me
today
too.
about painting, about dyeing my chair. Okay, I'm gonna do a real live
I didn't,
test.
I liked,
Okay, so we're gonna see how
I
many I
liked all of
have.
the options. I liked all the options, so I didn't pick.
This is
I
the
didn't want to choose.
this is the very first time I have gotten more than 3 fucking votes ever. I've never gotten more than 3 votes, and I've got 4, 7 plus 12 votes on this.
Yes,
This is the
queen.
first time ever because
I'm so
quite
excited.
honestly, no one, it's so
Never
hard to get,
happens.
especially when you have like a genuine, mine is about what color do I color my cushions. But when you have a genuine question about like the future of our show or like topics of a fucking
Yeah.
episode, it is so hard to get the engagement. And I find a lot of the
Mhm.
times that I'm hearing this from women businesses or women content. Because if you're
Mhm.
not selling your
That
fucking
aren't selling
vagina or
sex.
your tits or sex appeal, because we are not on here with lashes and my like titties pushed up to my chin, we are not going
I
to
don't have
get the
any.
views of
Hold on.
like
Hold on.
show some
Just
ass
kidding.
and some leg. Yeah, you know, like we're
Yeah.
not going to draw that like male demographic
That
as
crowd.
hard. It's going to be the males
Yeah.
that either know us or give a shit about our causes or our opinions, you know, like,
Yeah.
and we fucking
Yes.
love you.
Next
Like
season,
we
men, we're
see
coming
you.
for you.
What's
Just
up?
kidding.
But like
Yes.
it's true.
What's
Like
up?
we
Like
don't always
10%
look
of you.
like fucking Barbie dolls. That's just the reality of shit. Like we have technical
Yes.
issues and we roll through them. That's the reality of shit. That's why this is called the Be
Yep.
Real Babe, because women especially need to start leaning into we are humans, we make mistakes, shit
Mhm.
goes wrong, shit goes
Yes.
right,
And
like
not
just
everything is perfect.
yeah, like
Like,
stop,
stop
stop,
filtering everything.
stop.
Stop faking everything. You're doing yourself a disservice.
It
Like,
is
I don't want
it's
this. I didn't mean. I didn't mean this to be a hate on women episode because it's
it's
really not. I
not.
think what it is that we want to see us do better. Like we
We're
want to see
calling out what
the
we see
moving
that could
forward.
change. And like there's things that we're doing right.
Yes.
We've mentioned that like motherhood is
Mhm.
incredible and people don't give enough credit to it.
Oh,
And like
moms are
just being a
amazing.
tough
Yes.
badass bitch in this day and age,
Yes.
fucking kudos to
Yes.
you. All my girls out there, you know who you are. If you're a single mother, if you're a fucking running a business,
Yes.
if you are a
Especially.
career woman, who I don't fucking care. Like being a woman
Yeah.
in this day and age is difficult. Being a human in general
Yes.
and a man, like everyone has their hardships, but being a woman, fuck. This being anyone the last 3 years has been a
There's a
nightmare.
lot of stories.
But we are
I think it's fair to
definitely
say that women have
we are trying
more
to be
stories
erased
being sold.
in the last few
Yeah, we're trying to be
years.
erased.
We are no
I
longer
mean, though, but
breastfeeders or
flip that,
fucking
men, flip that though. I think what it is there's like this middle part that is being like, I think men and women are trying to be erased in its entirety. And there's just like this, we talked about this
androgynous something.
transhumanism,
Yeah.
androgynous middle thing where it's like there's no binary, where it's like, I understand. But like, we're not going to get
Which
into this, but gender personalities,
if you
right?
think
Like,
about it,
why can't women just be tomboys? Why do they have, you know what I
to
mean?
add to
Like,
that, so this like weird like combined transhuman, like what are aliens usually? Do
AI
aliens
shit.
have sexes? Usually no. You see them as gray
No.
figures. They don't have boobs, they don't have this, they don't
Yes.
have that. That's what
No
like I,
privates.
I remember we were watching Joe Rogan and I think he says something along the lines of like, what if this like we are the form under alien, like we evolve
Mm-hmm.
next into what that is, which is either like just kind of a
No
different
sex,
yeah,
no
like no
gender,
gender,
no.
no set, like it's kind of weird to think of, but I would hate
It's
to
so
think
funny.
that because
I think we've talked about this
that's
before.
not how you continue, like I don't know how, like I'm sure they'd still have to have something like that because how do you continue a species unless it's completely like
Yes.
fabricated in a completely different way that I can't even imagine. But yeah, we are definitely being
100%.
targeted in our own special ways, and this wasn't meant to be like a rag on women.
No.
Like we empowered men, and we like kissed their ass for that whole episode. In my opinion,
I
we did
know.
really
And I'm
well.
like, oh,
But
this is not how I
and
talk.
this is like
But
not to say that women. It's just it's more of like we know what
but
needs
we
to
aren't the
change.
problem to our own solution though.
We know
That's
what
the
needs to
problem. Like
change, and
a
we're
lot
trying
of
to
our
voice it.
problems.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of our problems, and when I listen, and I'm saying this because I'm getting frustrated because we hear these things, and it's just like when Grant calls me out for my shit all the
Yeah.
time. Like it happens, but it's like you guys are saying that you don't want to cater to men and you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do anything to men, and men are making you feel this way, and these industries are there, and I completely agree with
Yep.
you. But we don't have to buy into it,
Then
sis.
why are
Is
you
what I'm
still
trying to say
pushing
to you.
into it? Yeah.
Why
Why?
are you why are you still buying the makeup when
Yeah.
you don't want to do your makeup all
Mhm.
the time? Because you're afraid of being uncomfortable without makeup? I'm
Because you
sorry.
don't know what you
That
look
sucks.
like, or you're worried that you're not going to
Yeah,
meet what everyone thinks you should. Yeah.
exactly. And all I'm saying is once you free yourself of that, once you truly free yourself and you truly do your makeup and your
Yeah.
body and your presentation and how you show up in the world because it makes you feel good, not for comments from other people, for likes from other people, when it's generally because you look in the mirror and you feel good,
Yeah.
that is a place to be. But I want y'all to be real with
Yeah.
yourselves
You got to start
and
being more
make sure
honest
that
with
that is what
yourself
you're
and more
doing.
like that's the one
Yes.
person that like you should not be. We all are guilty of it. I think it's the one person we lie to the
Yes.
most, and because it's the easiest, because it's
Yes.
ourselves, but like it's the one person that we have to stop doing that with. You have to be so honest with yourself
Yes.
and realize that like if you want something or you don't want something, there's no sense in living unhappy or foregoing years of your life or moments of your life where you're not getting to be you. And I know that sounds really
Mhm.
ironic coming from us, considering we're very harsh against some of the trans community, because that has nothing to do
Yeah,
with
but
that.
again, I don't know. But trans have always been around and we've
If
never had a
that's the
problem
way
with
you
it, though. There's a
feel,
big
that's
difference.
fine, but it just comes down to like this has a complete sidebar. It still stands because if you should not have to live every day being miserable and not getting to be who you are to the full extent, but that comes with very special conditions, because I still do believe you should be of age to make certain medical decisions and surgical
Well, and
decisions,
there's still reality,
obviously,
y'all.
and
Like,
hormonal
there's still
decisions.
reality.
Like, you should still have
Yes.
to experience some things and some restraint. Like, you shouldn't just be able to get what you want when you want it at whatever age. I'm sorry. There needs to be
Mm.
some kind of vetting and some kind of like process of like, you need to wait until
Boundaries.
you're an adult like you do to drink and vote and everything. But
Mhm.
all that
Mhm.
sidebar being said, you should not be stuck in a norm or stuck in a just direction that you don't
Story.
want to be in, a narrative that isn't yours. If
Mhm.
you do not want to work a traditional 9 to
Mhm.
5 and you want to stay home and raise
Then
babies,
don't.
fucking do it and be empowered, and do not let
Mhm.
people, like Brandy said, tell you, oh, you just want to stay home. What the hell is that? No, that is my contribution. My house will be looking flawlessly.
Mhm.
I will have it run the way I need it to. It will not always be clean
And
because I have
kids
children,
be
but who the
attended
fuck
to.
cares? Like, my children will be cared for
Yeah.
by me.
Yes.
They will be taught
Yes.
by me, and there's something to be said about that in itself.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
all that aside, I just, women are
They're more powerful than we
magical.
give
I
ourselves
don't
credit
even think,
for,
yeah,
and
I
that's
don't
when my
think
point is.
we really realize the power that we hold as women. They say that
Mhm.
the man may be the head, but the woman is the neck. We can turn that head in any direction we want. Women are very powerful. We have persuasion in
Mhm.
our own right. We have what men lack in the sense of like emotional, I don't want to say emotional depth because that's not
Intelligence.
nice, and I don't mean it to sound that way, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. We balance men
Emotional intelligence.
emotionally where
Yes.
they balance us
Yes.
physically. So we have a
Yes.
different sight and a different looking glass
View.
of things than men do.
Yeah.
And we
Yes.
need that. We need to balance. Like, why do you think, like, I don't know, there's not very many, or there hasn't been, in my opinion, or prominent ones of like women leaders? Yes, there has been some have done good, some have
Mhm.
done bad, but like, I would just very be much interested in like a modern day woman taking a stab at things, because we hold a lot of power that, like we said, we don't really realize how fucking
No.
mad, like, without us none of this really exists, to be honest.
No.
We
No. We're
created the
life givers.
population, we created what we now call planet Earth's inhabitants. You know what I mean? Like, that
Mhm.
in itself is fucked. The fact that we can also hold a job, also run businesses and side hustles. Shout out to this bad bitch right here. Like, it's just, it's crazy that we're allowed to do so much but limit ourselves so hard with like, this is
And
what I
that's what
have
it
to
is.
do and
I
this is
think
what I'm expected to
And I
do,
think
when it's
that's why
like,
I get
no.
so mad.
No.
No, bitch. Like, you're going to hear this whole
You
episode, and
do
if you're hearing it
you.
through a lens, that you hear it through a lens that you're pissed off at me, that I mean with this in the kindest way, I feel like you still have some more healing to maybe do. Because if once you understand the power that you have, and that you don't
Limitless.
have to continue these, yeah, you don't have to continue these stories of where you should work, when it, like, we're all doing
What
this
you should
inside of
do, yeah.
here, unless there's a physical person in your life telling you these things. That's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different story. I
Yeah.
can't stop looking
Get
at
them
how
the
red
fuck
my
out.
fucking nose is compared to everywhere else. But get them. I'm not drunk, you guys. This is summer. But I think that's what upsets me so much, and I think that's what is so powerful, especially about our group, especially our goal group. We've got
Yeah.
what, like 5 of us in there now, and it's just such, what it
A
is
hype
no
woman group.
competition, no judgment, hype women, understanding, validating your emotions while being like, yeah, that sucks. I'm really sorry. You're right. You could sit in that, but let's get you up the minute you feel good. And I'm not going to let you sit down. And I
Yeah.
think that's what upsets me, is that when we're constantly saying that we are where we are because of everyone else, and I'm just here, and we're just here to say, no, you are right now where you are because of the things that you did 3 to 5 years ago, the habits that you do every single day, the stories that you keep telling yourself. So, ladies, if you keep telling yourself you're not worth anything, you will continue to
Yeah.
attract things that will make you feel that
If you
way.
keep saying you
Sorry,
can't
it is,
do this, you
you
can't get
can't
that
do
job,
this.
you will
I
never
can't do
have that
that.
life, this is
You will
so
never get that. And
unattainable.
like,
Yeah, you won't.
yes, and I will say there's a lot of areas in life I agree that we are still in a lack of. I am in corporate cannabis, okay? There is not very many women there. That's okay. I'm a more men driven company. I've always loved working with men more with the sprinkle of women in it because I think it's super important because business is business. And I love ladies, but come on, ladies, we have to admit
We add
we're
the
not as
drama to The
cutthroat, so it's not
Office.
as easy. We do add the drama. We do because again, we're just
We
told
play
all
on the
these things and
emotional
we're just
sides, right?
racing. We play on the emotional sides, and that does get hard in corporate because it is business and you have to man up. But there are women, and that's the thing. It's like,
You need
okay, maybe
both.
they're not
It's
all
such a
women in the,
balance.
but there's gonna be, and there are women. If we dial back 60 years ago,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we have good and bad, and like I will say, like for one thing, we've talked about this before about the Jag, and I just posted about it recently. I felt really good about it because I got all cute and took a picture by a mural, and I was like wanting to do this post for a while about the comments because let's okay, this is no shade. I highly doubt he watches this. I wouldn't think so, but you know, this has nothing to do with said individual. It was just the situation. So someone at in my life bought a brand new vehicle. It's a brand new truck, very well known in this country. Is probably like 80, $90,000 brand new truck.
Damn.
Great, everyone pumped him up. The minute I brought my Jag, which to be clear for the fucking record for the 30th time was $45,000 for that vehicle, which by the way, I signed my Santa Fe at 60K. That's how bad of a position I was in. I bought my shitty Santa Fe for $60,000 in the end. And this Jag will be probably like with taxes, like 62 maybe. And then the Santa Fe would have been more. Anyways, the looks, the comments that I got about that really made me show where there are still a lot of people in a lot of places where it's like, oh, you got that? And all the questions and the side eyes and the like, are you sure you should be doing this? Like, you should
Yeah.
do that. Da, 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 da. But did anybody say that shit to him? No, they're all fucking stoked about him getting that new vehicle.
Because
And
he's a
it kind of made
man
me,
versus a
because he's a guy,
woman.
and exactly. And so I feel like when people like anti-feminists, like misogynistic feminists
Yeah.
like us, when we talk about the what how women have been disavowed or shut down or pushed
Yeah.
down, I feel like those are valid reasons because we sit here and fight for men, we fight for men's rights, we're not those women. But Grant can see it. He says it all the time. He not now, but before. Oh my god, especially in the oil field,
Yeah.
he was like, "Holy fuck, is this different for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, like it is, and it's really shitty." So he can see that. And in corporate world, there is that. And I'm not saying we're not making progress.
Mm,
It is there, and I'm not saying that, but we have made so much progress.
yeah.
And the way we continue is not by emotionally reacting and not going out and saying all these people, like it's dialing it in. And like I was watching Ben Shapiro today, and he made a really good point that self-care has kind of taken this like diverge over to like narcissism,
Yeah.
where it's like we feel, and especially like with the alphabet crew,
Stroking our
like everything that
egos.
I feel, yeah, is everything in world is for me, and I'm being this, and me, I. And it's like there's a degree I think where we talked about if you start showing up for yourself authentically, you start treating your body well with like eating well,
People
moving your
taking
body
it in a
however
weird
that
turn,
looks for
though.
you. Yeah, oh, they took it so many weird turns, but I think generally, if you just start doing those things for yourself and you start looking into endocrine disruptors, like when I looked into stop wearing makeup, I was like, "There's no
Yeah.
fucking way I'm ever going to be able to do this, man." Like, and we talked about this. You have oodles of makeup, and I was like, "There's no way
Yeah.
I could ever do it." I was not good at it. It was very apparent I was wearing it. It was terribly done. But in my mind, I felt like I needed to do it. And the minute I stopped and I had that revelation of, oh my God, I actually don't need to wear
Yeah.
makeup and I did not die without it,
Yeah.
you feel like you have to go shout to every single girl, you don't need to do this because it was making my acne worse. But in my mind, it was like, well, you better wear makeup. Oh, and because people, and people say that. And so you like,
I've noticed
it
that
does
the
reiterate those
majority of my
stories.
friends and people that I know have stopped through the pandemic. They've given, like, every now and then when you go out, yeah, it's fine to like doll
Of
yourself up, but
course.
like every day or like
Totally. But
just
your worth
yeah,
isn't in that. You're
no.
beautiful without it. And if you can't see that, I'm going to challenge you to start to try. And if you truly want to fuck the patriarchy and
Yeah.
fuck men, like, okay, they're
Well,
going to the
like we
side
were
where it's like,
saying
hey, you
though,
want to
like
grow that out? Fine. But like,
Brandy said, like guys
you
were
still have to go
asked and they
deeper.
don't necessarily like that fake dolled up, completely done up kind of look every now and then, yeah, and like, do you look good? Yes, but like to maintain that, and like
No,
you wake
of
up looking like
course.
a completely
Who
different
can
person
afford
without
that?
all that makeup and hair and like the clothes and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like wouldn't you just like, that's my biggest nightmare and pet peeve, was either rubbing off on someone with foundation. I hated wearing foundation.
Oh,
Or
yes, or get put on clothes.
yeah, being told like, wow, you look really different today, or like, wow, you look really different. Like, it's like, oh, like good different, or like, what does that mean?
Yes.
Like, it's just,
But
it
then when
gets
you,
tiring
and I
having
agree,
to
but
like, oh,
it
am I
does.
too orange? Oh, did I put too much highlighter? I was
Keep up with the
I bathed in
Joneses.
that shit, and I just like, do I look ridiculous? Can you see it? Do I have just this strip of like metallic high? Like, it's just, it's always, it adds stress that you don't necessarily need, which not wearing it also is like, oh my god, do I look okay? Like, why are those people looking at me? Do I have something on my face? Like, you're gonna have it no matter what. But I would rather take the, like, what are they looking at kind of looks than the, oh my god, do I look orange? Do I look two-toned? Is my
Yes. Can they
bronzer too
tell?
red? Like, is my, it does it not match in this lighting? Like, it's
Yes.
so
Yes.
much. It's so much. I'm so
I
glad to be
think
rid of it, to
I
be
think
totally
that's
honest.
I think that's one of the reasons why I never got done anything to my face and I never got boobs, because I mean this in the kindest way. Please do not take this the wrong way. But all I thought for me personally was everyone's going to know my insecurities.
Yeah.
Everyone is going to know that I was insecure about my boobs and I got them done. And I don't like attention, especially when it comes to my looks. We've talked about this in past
And it's hard
episodes,
not to get
is
attention
because
when you
that
need
is how
that.
I was praised. Exactly. And I don't want that. I don't want attention from my looks because I was always, that was so
Yeah.
hyper focused. Like, you
Yeah.
should be a model one day because you're so pretty and make money. And it was like, oh, so my value is now in my looks. And I had to very much work to, and I'm still not
To
there,
erase
to
that.
get rid of it. And this is
Yeah.
why we show up without makeup, you guys. Like, I have actually leftover makeup from last night because I'm a lazy bitch. And I
My
put
lighting is
like a little
terrible, but I
bit
look
on.
like,
This is this is it. This is the amount of makeup. I won't even put bronzer on my face anymore. I won't do that
I do
because
mascara if I do anything
because
nowadays. That's it.
yeah, mascara, that's it. Because I'm like, girl, you need to love yourself as you.
Yeah.
And as you age, it's going to get harder because you're being told, or you're telling yourself, no, no, no. I'm telling myself by the messages that I'm
Yeah.
getting, but what I'm putting in front of me. If you stop watching all those people like the Kardashians and
Yeah.
all those things, like I was talking to my girlfriend the other day about this, if we didn't see some stuff, would we actually even
No.
be a worry? For example, would we be afraid of semi trucks and logging trucks if we didn't watch Final Destination? If we didn't have a personal, now I replay that in my head all the time, and I've made it a
Yeah.
reality that every time I see a logging truck, it's going to do what happened. So it's like, if it wasn't so if it's not, and you can agree with me too because all your friends are
If there's
starting to
no
stop doing it.
outside
If there's
influence.
not in front of you an outside influence, that's what I'm saying. Like, during the pandemic, if you didn't do all those things because it was a pain in the ass and you didn't want to, I would just challenge you to decide
Yeah.
if putting that stuff on is for you. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I want to empower women to not have to feel like, right now, y'all, shit is expensive. I don't know
Yeah.
how you were affording to do your nails, your eyelashes, your hair. I just canceled my hair. I'm done. Y'all, I've canceled my hair. I told
Dude,
her, I
lashes
saved
alone
money.
can be so expensive. Nails, hell. Nails used
And
to be
I'm
what,
not
like
shading.
25, $35 a set. Now it's like
Yeah. Now, like
75 sometimes is a
50,
minimum.
60,
Like,
75. Yes. And I'm not saying, and again, I don't want anybody that does these services or the people that get it to feel bad about
well,
what you're doing. I
hell,
am all for
yeah.
you doing your shit and highlighting yourself, right? I got tattoos, but you
But
want to
make
know
sure
what?
you do it
I
for
got those tattoos
yourself.
because I was insecure
Yeah.
and I did not know. And see, here's the thing, and I'm okay to be honest that I got my tattoos because I was not secure in my body. I was super insecure and I thought tattoos would make me hotter. And well, they did. But what was the risk of me doing this? Like, no, let's be real. What's the risk of me doing this? I didn't realize that there is risks with tattoos because I didn't care,
Yeah.
because my vanity and my insecurities came over the risks and I didn't care.
Yeah, but
I'm not
it
saying
was
y'all
also
are doing
super
that,
normalized for us
but
too, and like it's a normal
very
thing to get
normalized.
tattooed and get ink shoved
Very
into your
much.
body. And
But
I love
again,
tattoos, hell.
I love them and I'm sure I'll get more, but now I'm making them with more intention.
Yeah.
Okay, what is getting put in my body? How, like, what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. What I'm saying is that it is very easy for people to play on our insecurities, and I'm just fucking tired of that being done by multiple industries.
Yeah.
And then you get some sort of medical, mental, physical risk to
Repercussion.
that. Then you're gaslit and told that you're just crazy and you're just a woman
Or it's
and you just have
hereditary.
emotions. Meanwhile, or it's hereditary. Meanwhile, that Botox is actually giving you
Yeah.
anxiety. And actually, all that makeup that you put on your face, now it's fucked your hormones. And now
Yeah.
maybe you can't
Perfume.
have a baby because perfumes, like I know people, like especially being a
I wore
young
some
smoker,
this
I used to
weekend and Nick
load
was
that
like,
shit
"Why
up.
did you put so much on?" I'm like, "I didn't though." I was like, "I just haven't worn it in so long. I haven't worn it in
I
years, Nick,
don't.
that like I put like
I
3
don't
squirts
either.
and it's just." He's like, "Dude, why?" I'm like, "I know." And it does smell good and like I
I
smelled my
know.
hoodie
I
after and
do
I
the
was like,
same
"Oh my
thing.
god, I miss that
Yes.
like so
Oh,
much." But
yes.
that was the first time I
Same.
put perfume on, I swear to god, in like 2 years. And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why?
Yes.
You didn't have to go crazy." I'm like, "I didn't. I did not go
I
crazy.
didn't though.
I just didn't
But
remember
isn't
how
it, and I think
potent
that's
it
what it
is."
is. I know. And I
Oh,
think that's what it is. I think that we're just in that spot of life that really, really escalated through the pandemic
oh
of like, I
god.
don't need these extras to be an amazing person.
To do
Women,
my
you do not,
job.
again, you
Like,
want to do stuff to highlight yourself 100%. Again, nose piercing, tattoos, I buy clothes. I do the things too. I'm not saying that, so don't fucking get mad at
it's
me.
a
All I'm saying
balance.
is that y'all things, it's a balance. And if it is taking over your life and your worth and you can't leave the house because you don't feel like you're pretty, I've been there. It sucks. And you guys could all look at me and say, well, you're fucking stupid because you're pretty. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm so tired of that. Like, just because you think someone is better than you,
Yeah.
not saying that, but like in looks or in their body, it doesn't mean that they don't deserve or don't have space to have dysmorphias too. Actually, people that probably put their more into themselves probably
Yeah.
have more insecurities than people that don't, because people that usually don't are like, I generally don't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
don't
And
give
that's
a
why I love
fuck.
hippies, because they don't give a fuck. And that's what I half grew up with, right? So it's like I half grew up on the island where we didn't keep up with the Joneses. And then I
Mm.
moved to Grand Prairie and I was like, whoa, I am so small town. I need to hurry up and catch up to all these women if I'm gonna make it here. And wow, was that a fucking trip
I
and a
think the
half?
funny
But
thing
like, I
is
think,
like it does that in like everything, because like even in like there's like the pretty girl aesthetic, the hippie aesthetic. I was the tomboy aesthetic, but even then you have to be like the
ugh,
hot tomboy. Like you can't be like the true tomboy
yes.
where like you're just kind of like a
Well, look
rough
at
and tumble.
Halloween
Yeah,
costumes.
you have to be like
You
the
can't be a cop. You have to be a sexy
you
cop.
have to be like
You know,
the
like,
yeah, like the Letty of like tomboys, where you're
yeah.
like you know about either all the boy stuff like cars, this and that, and you also look good, but like you can't look too good because then you're like a girly girl. Like
Mm-mm,
it's just it really
mm-mm,
you as women, like in any area, any facet, you can't really win. Like they come at you with
mm-mm.
everything, and you are just we
And
have to
that's the
be
design,
strong, and we
y'all.
all have to like come together to break through the barriers of like I am a tomboy. I also like to look like a girl sometimes. I have always been of the
Mm-hmm.
I don't really give a fuck. I did have my moments growing
Me
up as
too.
a teenager and through my 20s where I definitely catered to people and like people pleased and thought and did things and said things and bought things and wore things because I thought that's what people liked. And I mean, it is what it is. That's a part of growing up, in my opinion. But I'm still very like I'm a thrift store baby. I love thrift stores. Secondhand is my shit. I do not buy
Yeah,
things brand new. It is so very rare that I buy things from a store. Like Poshmark, if you haven't heard of
love
it, is
that.
my jam. Like I
Yes.
don't know. Like I've never been I did when I was a kid and I liked brands, but like I've also liked to march to the beat of my own drum because like I didn't want to look like every Brittany and Ashley and Kathy type thing, you know? But it is so
Yes.
sad to see, yeah, like people. I thought it
Young
was
people
something we
lose their
all grew
lives
out
to it.
of, you know, and it's just sad to see some people that are our age and my mother's age and just like all ages where
Still,
it's so
grandparents' age,
hard to
still
not want
trying.
to like just you want people to like you. You want people to think you're cute. Like it's just kind of a normal human nature thing, but like we have just become so consumed in it and so wrapped up in it
Yes.
that it is just
And I
it
don't
has
think it's a
taken
bad thing,
over
but
everything
yeah,
though.
it's
Like
too much.
it's taken over
Yeah.
our life. It's taken over like Brandy was saying like some people just literally cannot leave the house without like everything to a T perfect. They have to have their lip gloss on. They have to have this specific mascara done like this with the lashes, their eyebrows done like hell
Honestly,
some people
yeah.
can't leave the house without headphones. That used to be me. If I left the house without headphones, it was like the worst day ever because I used to listen to music at work. Like there's just
Mhm.
always something and we just have to stop like attaching ourselves to things that either make you look cool.
Things.
Yeah, like as long as you're
Yes.
feeling good, you're not harming
Yeah.
anyone, and you're just, yeah, living
And
your like
yourself.
proper life. Like, I just,
Yeah.
it sucks, like we've said, that everyone is so bogged down in shit, and when it comes down to it, like, we're all so like unique and beautiful, and like there's just so much to offer naturally, but we just are so used to having
Yes.
to like mask that and like completely stifle
Here,
that, and it's
let's
ugly. Yeah, like, dude, you guys have been seeing this
let
this
me be
entire
real for a
show. My
second. Here,
freaking,
go.
I am the biggest candidate
There you
for
go. Oh, this
Botox. Like, I
this is not the
have
best.
forehead wrinkles and like my frown
Here, put
lines
it
and
down a little
smile
bit.
lines, but you know what?
Nope, it's not helping.
Crow's feet
Let's
means
get
you've
over here.
laughed a lot. Like, this means you're
Yes.
an expressive person, and I like have been told I have a
Yes.
like expressive face, and like that's what life is. I don't understand, like, oh, but that's ugly.
I don't know why
Okay,
that's so
cool. My
bad.
11s, cool. You don't like them? Don't look at them. I
I seen that. Did you see in that reel? That was like, if you can't see my 11s, then how do you know I think your pronouns are
Yeah,
fucking
if you
stupid?
can't see my 11s, how do you know? How can I tell you that you're stupid
How
without?
can I be fully judgmental without
Yeah,
this face? I don't know. And
this is how
again,
you know I'm judging you.
I really want to reiterate because I feel like people, and maybe that's just me. I don't hate anybody that does this. I don't think you're doing a bad thing. I want you to know the risks, and I want you to make sure that you're doing it for your actual
For the
self
right reasons.
because for the right reasons, because it all comes with risks, guys.
Yeah.
Makeup comes with risks, procedures come with risks, and when we're so upset, and this is what bothers me, okay, I have anxiety and depression from like from whatever, I don't
Hmm.
know, but I'm not going to look at anything that I'm consuming. I'm just going to run to a medication, therefore
It
that's going to
must,
put me on
yeah.
something else. And like, we sit back and we interview guys. We are on episode 1, what was it, this is 144, I believe.
Yeah.
144 episodes. I would say the majority of that I have had a guest with me. And I would say 95% of the time, that person has been sold something completely what they didn't expect and got fucked
Yeah.
over from it. So when you guys are listening to this, when you're trying to understand and like conceptualize what we're saying,
Hmm.
know what we do as a hobby and the women and the people that we listen to with breast implants, with Botox, with medications. Women have been disserviced so
Birth
much. This is why we
control,
talk
hell.
about birth control and Puerto Rico and all of those things, because we're trying to bring it to light, because we want you to know how powerful you actually are. We can do anything, and no, we can't do everything boys can do, just like boys can't do
They're
everything we can
trying
do
to stifle us for
naturally.
a reason because we're powerful.
Yeah, so step into your feminine that is actually you. How powerful is it if you don't need a goddamn thing to feel amazing? And
Hmm.
I'm guilty of it right now. I can't get off energy drinks, y'all. I'm trying. I have tried. I took it off my fucking goal list because I was tired of Xing every goddamn day. But like, I just can't right now. And I know that is a toxic behavior. And I'm like, girl, you don't need this. And every day at like 10, 11, I'm like,
You know what though?
but you can
We
get
all
one for
have that one
$3.
vice that it's,
Yes. So I get it.
you just got to be
But
honest
it's
with
just, it
yourself and
sucks.
know that it's maybe not
Be
servicing you
real
right
with it.
now. It's not for you right now, and you need
Yes.
to let it go.
Or
Or
pin it and be
yeah.
like, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just going to have this in my mind. Or maybe do a little bit of like, I hate the word research, but look into some of the things that you're doing. I really would urge you guys, please, please, please go on Facebook, find the Disport Botox group. Um, Again, like the reason why I say this is because we don't know what it's going to be like for people to do all this stuff in 20, 30 years. And people are already exponentially dying of cancers and other diseases. And I'm sorry, that's not normal. So we got to look at the things that have changed over the last couple of years. And I'm not saying that specifically Botox, but what I'm saying is like, we have the power to heal ourselves by what we put in, what we consume mentally, spiritually on our bodies. Like, think about the chemicals that are in lotions, right?
Hmm.
That make that. You know, some of them are good, and you're rubbing that on your biggest orifice every single day. And then you're going outside into the sun with these chemicals. And then you're
Baked
having
onto your
these
skin.
medications, which exactly. And I'm going to tell you, go look at your medication. If you are on medication, I want you to go take the pamphlet and I want you to read if it has sun sensitivity before you fucking put sunscreen. Not do whatever you want. But what I'm saying is stop demonizing the sun
Yeah.
when we're eating and consuming stuff that is known to have
Hmm.
bad reactions, and
Hmm.
you're blending that all together, and then you're taking a medication that says don't wear this and
Hmm.
don't be careful with your exposure to
Yeah.
sunlight. And then you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
We're
this
not
is why
aware
we're
of a lot of
upset, because
stuff.
we know
Yeah.
we aren't, but it's there, but we're too busy, and we trust that it's being sold, so therefore it is safe.
Well, we're
And
also
that is
like
what I cannot handle
push,
anymore.
like I said to Nick the other day, we're standing there because we were both having to purchase the same thing, and I looked at him, I was like, and a lot of people probably, why the fuck are there men and women razors? It's
Good
a
question.
fucking razor.
I don't know. Pink tax.
But we get charged more because ours
But
are pink and moisturizing and super silky gliding and oh my god, make your vagina
but
soft.
on
But
the flip side, on the flip side, have you seen how much men have to pay for clothes? Like it I feel
that's
like
what I like.
there's
It's
like we're
just it's
pushed, but
very
it's cheaper so we buy more.
it's
It's
crazy to
very
see like
difficult.
how like yeah like we've been saying like how easily like men and women's razors. Why the fuck we need to have men and women? It should just be razors. I mean, they're pretty much shaving the same
Just
thing. It's hair on
razors.
your body. But same thing
Yes.
with
Who
clothes.
cares if
Like
it's
the
pink or
fact that we
black?
have gotten so like girl clothes, boy clothes, gender neutral clothes. Why can't it just be clothes?
Yes. And
Like
why
you
can't
can
it be
have
the
girl
same
clothes and
price for
boy
the same
clothes, but
shit?
like like yeah, like where's
Why do
the
they have to have a price difference?
yeah, it's
Why do
crazy.
men's clothes like I could spend $100 like I just did at that
Hell,
cider place, which I'm gonna do a review. I just haven't had time. Grant would not be able to buy that for $100. He'd be able to buy an outfit.
bras should be free. The fact that we have to pay for a bra, like if my titties are not allowed to be exposed because you don't want to see them, then give me a free bra to cover them. The fuck do I have to pay 40 to
But
50
then
to 60 some dollars for a fucking boulder holder when my bitches could be fucking roaming free living their best titty life, but no, that is unacceptable because women cannot have their free titties just flopping around in people's faces because that's offensive.
but see, this is also where I struggle because apparently, when you're holding them like that for so
It's not good.
long, that's not good for the lymphatic system, and that is why a lot of women get breast cancer.
That's
So
I
it's like,
wear sports bras
okay,
and
we
non like try looser. I don't like
yes, and
wire and
I'm
the
not shading that,
up here
but
boobies. I
it's
can't do it.
it's the same thing where it's like, oh, all tampons should be free. Yes, I agree, but they come with a fuck ton of
I'll
chemicals.
say
So am I
tampons,
really
yeah.
excited that they're free?
Pads,
Or birth
tampons
control.
is
When everyone in BC was like, birth control's free, and I was like, cool. Can we teach about like I don't know our
yeah.
cycles or how we get pregnant or sexual STDs, or we're just gonna give everyone medication that personally
Yeah.
fucking affected
I
me?
feel like
I'm
if
on board.
if you're yeah, if you're going to get pissed off and like tampons and pads should be free, like cool, but can we get like yeah, like organic options that aren't filled with bleach and
Full of
shit? Like
chemicals. And you know,
you
if
can't
the
even
government's
find
paying
good
for it, it's
ones
gonna be the
anymore
cheapest.
because it's literally
No.
like every company has been
All
bought
of them
out by a bigger company that puts the shitty chemicals in them, the PFA, like the forever
to make it
chemicals and like
faster.
all this shit. And that unfortunately is going on a pretty sensitive lady bit area that kind of don't want that shit.
Sensitive.
Yeah, like I just we I will say the biggest fuck around, as this is an episode of women, is like the fact that we are charged, penalized, taxed, and everything to do with a period that I can almost certainly say 100%, 110% of women did not fucking ask for and would not fucking like
Want to
continue if we
experience
had the
it.
option. Yeah. If we had the
Yeah.
option to just
Yes.
ixnay that bullshit, that shit would have been gone decades, millennials. Like
And I'm not trying to be this way, but women that aren't able to have babies,
shouldn't
excuse
have
me,
to have it.
I shouldn't have to have a period at all because that is the whole point is having a
yeah,
baby. And if I can have a baby, then why am I going through all this
it's
stuff? Like,
truly
and
though
I
like
can take it out, but I don't want to go through early menopause. Absolutely not. So it's like, oh, I'll just deal with this for the next 25 fucking years, even though I'm
I
not going to have a goddamn baby
I
for
feel
it.
like we didn't really talk about that one, but that one just kind of goes without being said. I don't care what anyone says. Men and women all know that like periods are bullshit. You want to buy into the
They are
oh, they
bullshit.
women play into them. Yeah, some of them do, but you know what? Rightfully so because periods, I don't care who you are, having a cramp, having a fucking full week, having a day, having 3 hours of it. It fucking sucks. It's like
It
nut
does.
cramps, but you don't
But
have nut cramps,
but
do you? No, you don't.
another disservice though is that women are not supposed to be having these cramps. Like that
No.
is not how our bodies are supposed to be designed, but we've just all
Some
made to
people do,
believe that
but
that
it's
is
not
okay
supposed to be
because
as
that's what
frequent or
yes, for
common.
sure.
But that's where birth
No,
control
but
is
I think
sold because then
naturally,
we here help to control the cramps and here help to control
yeah.
this. But do you know what's actually giving you those cramps and all that? Probably the birth control and like all the like shitty metallic in our food and like you know
Everything.
all the
All those
chemicals that
types
they
of
drop
things.
down on us in our chemtrails.
and in
Just
our
to name a
food and
few.
in our water and
And
our
yes, Nick, even
products
you
and
can
like
even ask Nick. Nick tells me sometimes, he's like, "You sound crazy." I'm like, "Yes, I realize I sound crazy, but would you rather me sound
I'm
crazy and at
aware.
least know some of this stuff and be aware of this stuff and try and pass that on to our child and have her a little bit healthier than we were, so she's not stuck with chronic allergies like her mother has every time the fucking temperature changes or the fucking wind blows a piece of pollen up my nose?" Or like fucking shitty anxiety, like
Totally
unfortunately
agree.
her father suffers from because of God knows what. Like the amount of depression and anxiety, I'm pretty sure I would be hard pressed for you to find someone in our generation right now that does not have anxiety or depression or a form of, or like,
Well, I and
I'm
and
sorry,
see, to me now, that's what I'm just
it's
like
normal.
I'm starting to struggle with. That's what I mean. I'm starting to struggle with like
The fact that
everybody
it's
being
normal.
diagnosed with certain
Or
things. Yeah, because it's
ADD and
like
ADHD. ADHD
ADHD.
right now is like
Everybody has one.
some of the symptoms
It's the
too. I'm
hot
like,
top.
bro, I've got ADHD. Good to know.
And do you know how many people I have so many people that'll be like, "Oh, do you
Self-diagnosed.
think you have say self-diagnosed?" Like, okay, I'm sorry, I totally agree, but where the studies of like what
Yeah.
normal people without those mental illnesses are going to deal with social media?
Hell,
Like,
look at
I don't
autism.
believe that I yes, but I just like it's so interesting because people are like, "Oh, you have ADHD because you're so hyper and
Oh,
you're doing all these
yeah,
things all
no.
the time." But that's just what hyper people do. That doesn't like I don't there I don't know, whatever. To each their own. I just don't feel like a diagnosis is always going to help anybody. If anything, I think it limits you and it traps you into something, and it also for some people gives them an excuse and kind of like a security in a sense. People don't take that wrong.
Well, it's
But
like a
anyways,
false
meaning
blanket,
women,
yeah.
it is. We're powerful, okay? Not just beyond the pussy power, okay?
Pussy
We're talking about
power.
like everything else, okay? And we need men. This isn't like a men are better than women, even though between the two
Or women
episodes
are
we
better than
obviously sounded
men
like
or
we love men
whatever.
more.
Yeah.
But the thing is with men though, is that men aren't going to listen to us saying, "Hey, bro, you need to do this." The men have to hold the men accountable to be better,
Yeah.
right? We're going to say
We
that we
have to
want to
hold
hold the
ourselves.
women that have been terrible. We have to hold ourselves better. And what we are saying is, ladies, you don't have to follow the stories in your head. You don't have to listen to the beauty industry standards. You can do whatever you want.
You
You can
create
do
your
anything. And
standards.
against, you could go get as much Botox as you fucking want. Just because I say don't do it doesn't mean that you can't.
Yeah.
Because now you get to decide if you're going to create that story in your head based on my opinion. You get to decide.
Mhm.
You get, and that's the thing. It's like, we hear this like, so I did the same thing. Like, okay, and I said this, okay, all the women that have Botox, do you think that I should have it then? If you have it? And nobody can answer me. And I'm like, that's okay if you think that if you were me, that you would. And that's okay. That
Mhm.
doesn't make me hate you. It makes me
We just have very
it
different
makes me see how
opinions of
there's different
things.
exactly if and it's okay and that's all right.
Mhm.
And just because I think it's doing a disservice, y'all could think, today I was actually having a conversation about this. I was like, I struggle with lots of plastic surgeons, not the good ones, but the
Yeah.
bad ones, the ones that take money.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine said, hey, well, I had a cousin that wouldn't even leave her house because of something on her face,
Yeah.
and that person reconstructed her face, and now she can like totally understand that to a degree, because it's like, at what point do we stop though? Like, okay, so then it's your nose to
Yeah.
whose standards, right?
Yeah.
And then to what? So it's like,
But it's
toot
not.
your own fucking drum.
Yeah. I was saying it's not always that, like, even like the cyst on my face, it's not even just like changing like something like that bugged me because it's this like red permanent dot or this bump on my face. Now it's kind of gone, but the
Yeah,
scar was like a red dot and it's just kind of on your face. So like I understand like the temptation, and like I obviously went and got it
totally.
done. That was my
A
first like
big ass nose.
surgery, I guess you could say,
Nice.
besides my C-section. But like
Okay.
it's just like, yeah, like things like this or like loose skin, like there are things that, yeah, like I get that people want to change, and it does, like for you, like I've always said, like after babies, if my body, specifically boobs, because women hold a lot of their like, I don't know, like it's a woman thing to have boobs, it's a very personal
Yeah.
thing. And if I had to look at them and
Mhm.
didn't like them, to me that would really like weigh on me. So my boob job was always, it would have been for that reason. But it
Mhm.
like that is such a rare occasion where it's usually like I want big boobs because, not because it'll make me feel better, it's because it'll make you feel better because then you know that people are looking at your big boobs, you
Mhm.
know?
Yes.
It's not
Absolutely.
always done for the right
And it
reasons,
gives
but
you
there are
something.
things that, like, I get it, like this was bugging me, or like if you have like a skin tag or like something like very
Mhm.
non like cosmetic-ish, like it is kind of
Yes.
like it's a double-sided coin where like stuff like that, like not even included in this conversation. It just comes down to the vanity of it, of like you want
Mhm.
to look a certain
And your
way because
worth and
that's
your
what you feel
value.
like you need to either attract men or to attract compliments, which will then make you feel better. It's all feeds into your vanity, right? Whereas some plastic surgery
Yes.
doesn't always. Anything helpful, like removing things from your body, from your
Reconstruction.
face, reconstruction,
Yeah.
anything like that, every situation is going to have the light,
But
the dark, and the exceptions, right?
what a privileged problem to have.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. When people say that the West is privileged, this is what I'm
First
talking
world
about. We're
problem.
talking about, yeah, like, and that's fine.
Nick and
You
I
can
say that
have
a lot.
those.
First world
And everyone
problems.
and everyone can, yeah, and everyone can have them and whatever. We're just saying that for those that don't feel aligned with it. If you feel aligned and you look in the mirror and you're like, "Fuck yeah." And that's what matters, because as soon as you look in the mirror, you're happy and you're not going to pick apart more things about yourself or
Mm-hmm.
about that said thing, then great. But can we be honest when it's too much? And can we not say fuck the patriarchy, but single-handedly funnel and fuel
Fund it.
every single, if we
Yeah.
don't like that business, I don't like the beauty industry in that standard. I love people that are in it.
So
It's
I
not for
don't
me. It didn't
I
be a
don't
service
fund
to
it no
me.
more.
So I don't contribute. I don't fund it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have some makeup? Hell yeah. I have mascara. I buy it like every 6 months. Like I said, y'all, we're going gray because I'm done paying even $150 every
Mm-hmm.
4 to 5 months because gray hair is going to show that I'm aging. Well, I'm pretty sure my face is showing that. So that's okay. And there's
People
nothing wrong
age,
with
it's
that.
normal.
But I just want women, yeah, I think at the end of this is that women, we want you to know that you are more powerful, that there aren't actual outside sources telling you that you need to change. It is your internal instinct to stay within the group and not get ex-nayed like you did generationally
Mm-hmm.
as time went on. But before, when you weren't contributing to the group, you got kicked out, right? We can all live on our own now. We don't need to, yes, we need community, but realistically, to be dead or alive, to be living, there is enough that you can take care of yourself. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
worry if blah 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 next door likes you, because chances are he probably don't. And a lot of people aren't going to, and you have to be okay with that. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be okay with people thinking that you're not as pretty or your nose is too big, or I have I don't know if people notice, they'll probably notice now, but I'll totally say that I have one eyebrow that actually lifts and one eyebrow that does not. And so I noticed this quite a bit. I know maybe some people don't, but I was to the point where I didn't want to take pictures for a little while. I didn't want to do anything. And I was like, this is so silly. If someone's not
I
going to like me because one of
I
my
would have
eyes
not known.
is bigger than the other,
Yeah.
oh, if you drink with me, you will see it.
I feel
But
like
this
a
actually
lot of
at a
people
photo
have
shoot
that
that
when
I
they
did.
drink. Eyes
Yes,
start getting all
they're down
wonky.
the eye. Yeah.
Nick's cousin,
Yeah.
we call him
But
Little Eye because, yeah, his one eye closes quite a bit.
and yes, but when my face, like when I did a photo shoot at the
You
end of
could
the
tell.
2 hour photo shoot, I you could tell because this it was just so like, and that happens, right? But people would tell me that I need Botox.
To
And I
fix
just don't
it.
want to believe that story, okay?
Dude, I
Yeah.
had a girlfriend
I'm
that
going to
used
believe that I'm just
Botox to
beautiful and
fix her
unique the same way.
migraines. They did Botox injections in intervals down her head, all the way down. And I thought that at the
Hmm.
time, which was 10 years ago, I thought that was absolutely bizarre. I'm like, what is that going to do? Well, it hits this and does, I'm like, what the fuck is that going
Oh,
to do? If it's not long term, what is the point of
black
that?
black box warnings. Don't give a fuck if you're getting it for your medically or you're getting it cosmetically. It does not matter.
No.
So this is what I'm saying is that I have told myself stories based off of what
Hmm.
I think other people have said
We
about my
are
beauty standards, but no one has come to me and said that. So
we
I
are
wanted to
our own
challenge.
worst
We
enemies.
are our own. Exactly. So,
Hmm.
women, I want to end this in a good way. This is such a mixed bag. I hope you guys, maybe this will piss you off to come into season 5. Well, we're still going to, season 6, we're still going to have a finale. There's still one more episode left to go, guys.
Yep.
But being said that you are powerful, you have control. What you do
Yes.
today and your habits will show where you are in 3 to 5 years. So, if you don't feel aligned with doing your makeup every day or keeping
Then
up with the
don't.
Joneses, or you don't have the money to do that
Then
stuff or the
don't.
time and it's taking away, then don't. And if you want to do it because it makes you feel good for whatever reason, fucking do it. Don't give a shit what we say. Who the fuck are we? We're just two fucking stoner Canadians on a podcast running our mouth. We don't even make money off this
Yeah.
shit. I ain't famous. Why don't
That's
you hear
all
what I
right.
say? But
Because we do.
forget
Everyone
the
cares what
mistake.
people say.
Remember the lesson.
I hate to say it,
And we
but
should to a good degree. We should to a degree.
I
We
feel
need
like
to have that check
people's
and
opinion
balance.
of
But
us is a good reflection of how we're acting and how we're doing in society. If people don't
yeah,
like you and you're a
yes,
shitbird, well, there's probably a reason for that, and maybe you should look into that. But if people do like you for in general,
exactly.
then stop giving a shit. Because
Yeah,
if you're generally well liked, I
yes,
think you're doing okay, and it shouldn't really have to do with your looks. It has to do with your character and who you are as a person.
yes,
So as long as that's a
exactly.
shining bright star, then
100%.
honestly, the
Don't worry
wrapping
about the
paper
rest.
is just the wrapping paper.
Don't matter. It's gonna get crinkly over ages, and we're just gonna have to let it go.
Yeah, so
It's
it just kind of
or
is
you
what
don't
it
have
is.
to. Do whatever you fucking want.
Yeah.
But you're strong and
Do
you're powerful, and you
you,
can use your
boo?
mind. Do you, boo? But be real about it and make sure it's
Yes.
for you and not for anybody else. And the
Yes.
reason why we're saying that is because we have all experienced chasing external validation. We still do it, and it
Yes.
sucks. And we just want to empower you.
Dude, we
so you don't have to be this way.
definitely still do it. I did it today.
All the time.
I
do it all the
posted
time,
a
so we do
selfie.
this. But yeah, you did. Did you have to go and look? I've been off my phone.
No, it wasn't on Instagram. I did it
remember.
on Snapchat. It was that picture I
Oh.
sent you guys just saying that AI filters look real good, but it's because when I saw that, I was like, you look pretty cute there, girl. I'm gonna be posting this one.
And you're gonna be like, saying.
But then I did make sure to point out, this is a motherfucking filter. Don't even for a second think I look like this standing in my house right now. It is a much different version. I saw it sent you guys I was like, this is what the picture is, and then this is what you get. Joke's on you,
and
bitch.
Why, and I would challenge people then, if you are not comfortable with your face yet, use the funny filters. Use the stupid filters. Use those first, because those are very clear to your mind. And other people that those big ass bug eyes aren't yours.
Or that weird
pear
face, yeah.
Yeah, we know that when I come on with pear face, it's probably because I look like shit in the morning. But I try so hard to show up in the worst lighting on Instagram, on the worst things, and to
just be real
with you guys, because just to being real, because it's so much.
Us women need more of that.
Easy out.
We need more role models and leaders of real and not fake.
Yes.
Let's be that army.
Let's stop searching. Yes, let's stop searching for external validation. Start looking within.
Internal validation.
What stories? Yes, let's do an audit of our internal stories. Did someone say to me, I'm ugly? Did someone say that shirt is stupid on you? Did someone say your hair
This is how your career has to be? Yeah. Or do you?
This is who you have to be. You have to do this. Who's saying that to you? Is anybody physically?
It's usually you.
Life?
Yeah.
Are they?
It's usually you.
It's usually you.
Yeah.
And the stories that you've created from watching what gets liked on social media or in media. Stop. Create your own fucking stories.
Fuck yeah.
Women, we're done. You're done.
You're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Doing this. You're done. We're done. Okay?
Done.
We're gonna fucking take back our pussy power. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But again, don't go overboard with that. Okay? Let's find that balance. Let's balance our feminine and masculine. Let's end this fucking episode. Follow, like, subscribe. We haven't done like a 2-hour episode in a long time. I think we're both like not wanting to get off because we know
this is the last one of the season between us two. Next one will be all of us, or should be most of us, but
hopefully be all of us. Yes, but
that's okay, B.
Guys, we're gonna have
till next season.
Till next season, guys. Well, kind of, not really. Till next episode, but for these ones, until next season. Thank you, Hales, as always.
Always.
Women, we love you. Don't think that we don't. Bye.
Thank you guys so much for stopping by the show today. We truly hope that you had a good time. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe to our channels, like our episodes, and turn on those notification bells. You can find us on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, and Google Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Until next time, guys.